Hello and welcome to Boomer Live. Today we are here to talk about an exciting game of cricket as India took on Sri Lanka in the Asia Cup Super Fours. What a game of cricket that was, gentlemen. It just went down the wire and India just couldn't end up being on the winning side. It was Sri Lanka who took that extra win. You can see from the face of Jared and Sandipani how excited they are today to talk about this game, especially. And I'm also pretty excited to talk about this game. So, gentlemen, let's get going. So, Sanjivan, I'll come to you first up. How do you analyze today's performance of this Indian team? Because you really can't put into words. Yet another trophy, yet another exit in UAE. I think India should stop playing T20 cricket in UAE for now.
And if they are willing to play T20I cricket in UAE, they have to win the tosses. I think this UAE conditions. I think I said it right before the start of Asia Cup. Whoever is winning the toss is winning the game, and we have seen this. We are 9 games down. Apart from the 2 games against Hong Kong, all the
Mm,
matches have been won batting second. So
yeah.
I think finally the UAE authorities or whatever the ground staff should take some care so that it does not become so easy to bat in the second innings.
Yeah. But if you have to win this
Other
kind of
than that,
tournament, you also should back yourself to bat first and win. And that's where India crashed out of the T20 World Cup. That's where India crashed yet again out of another
yeah.
tournament.
And I think
We prepared some.
they stabilized pretty well. I think to start off, they had a horror show with Thikshana coming in early and dismissing KL Rahul, like something we predicted yesterday itself. But
Mm,
again, another uh, duck for Kohli, another dismissal for Kohli against a left hand seamer. So it looked like a
mm,
horror start for India
mm,
right at the start. But then Rohit Sharma and Surya Kumar Yadav really stabilized. It was good to see Surya Kumar Yadav play a different sort of a game to sort of support Rohit Sharma to get some momentum into that innings. And once
mm.
India were 109 for 2 at the end of 12 overs, you just can't finish at 173. I mean, this is 2 games in a row. We have
Yeah.
seen India having good starts, but not being able to capitalize at the end. And I think another we can't really blame the bowlers because they tried their best and the pitch was not really assisting the
I mean,
bowlers in
let
any
me
way.
tell you something, right? We have a question from Rahul first up as he speaks about Rahul Dravid's coaching coming under scrutiny. Let me just address that first up. I don't think his coaching will be under scrutiny at this point of stage because with T20 World Cup being less than 1 month away, I don't think they'll make any shuffle or changes at this point. Rahul Dravid will continue as India's white ball coach, and one tournament exit can't really define his coaching credentials, or it can't really you can't really write off Rahul Dravid at this very point as well. I think a lot has to be asked of Rohit Sharma because the team selections were really horrible. I pointed that out even the last game. And yesterday, we were pretty skeptical about what the team selections are going to be. You dropped Ravi Bishnoi, who had a very good game. You brought in Ashwin. Okay, well done. Ashwin had a very decent game. But Deepak Huda's role is still not justified. Rishabh Pant's role is still not justified. And that's where we lost the game. Jiran, coming to you right now. Rishabh Pant, if you had to play at number 5, you'd rather have Dinesh Karthik, right? That's why you lost the 10, 15 runs extra. And I want to say why I would have Dinesh Karthik before I want you to talk about it. Dinesh Karthik, if you look in the last IPL and also in the last 6 months or so, there's no batter in India with that range to hit pace towards the death overs. And that 10 runs could have been crucial for India today. Leave it on 10 runs, 7 runs. I'm just giving the target of 7 runs would have been crucial today. And with Deepak Huda there, you're playing him out of position. You want him to go and hit from ball one. He's a top order batter. So you're just spoiling a talent over there, and you're dropping dropping your best finisher in the country at this very point. Jen, your take on that?
When we saw the first match against Pakistan, we applauded this team management for the fact that they defined roles very clearly. Jadeja, we knew, kind of become a floater, and then Dinesh Karthik was a finisher, and then we had the enforcers up top, and we saw Virat Kohli being the anchor, and this is something that we loved in the first match against Pakistan.
Mm,
After Jadeja's injury, I really don't know what has been happening in the management. It's as if Jadeja took all the wisdom away from this team back to India, and that's just where things are. This team management is, I mean, this management is very questionable. I think I'll answer Rahul's question as well. I don't know about Rahul Dravid's coaching as much as his team selection or his role in team selection will be questioned. I think because at least there might be an argument that Rohit Sharma is in charge of it, but then as coach, I know he has some say, and I think that is where a lot of questions will be raised as against this management as a whole. We don't know what Rishabh Pant's role is. I think he is not clear about his role. We don't know what he's coming into the pitch to. I mean, coming onto the ground to play. Is he someone whom you're looking at as your finisher, or is he looking Are you looking at him as your middle order, sort of a stabilizer, who'll come towards in the middle overs and then take the game deep and have a late flourish? We don't know. He doesn't know, and that's pretty much, I think, the story of the. And that's pretty much what is happening in the middle order. Deepak Hooda, he doesn't belong there. We spoke about it a long time back. Deepak Hooda has done so well. He got into this team because he's a top order batsman. He was nowhere in the contention for Indian cricket team when he was playing at that particular spot for Rajasthan, right? Or for subsequent IPL franchises as well. The moment he was tried in the top order, that's when we saw him. That's when we saw him,
Jaren,
come forward.
I also made this point yesterday evening, right? Before this game even began, we already made the point that if you're playing Deepak Huda, you play him at number 5, or just don't play him in the team. If you're playing
Yeah,
that guy at number 7, it's of absolute no use. Today, if Dinesh Karthik would have been there, that would have an extra 10, 15 runs. Again, I'm making the point. Deepak Huda came in the 16th or 17th over, where India could have actually had the late flourish, but they just couldn't get going. He also got a lifeline. Just remember that he was
yeah,
caught. He got a no ball, so he got a lifeline over there. Still, he couldn't make use of it. That's why I was pretty livid at the way in which Indian team actually picked this team. And at the same time, Rishabh Pant at number 6 is very baffling for me. You can play Surya Kumar Yadav at number 6. I'll still agree to it. But Rishabh Pant at number 6 is very baffling. I know he scored 17 runs of 13 balls. He looked good while he was batting. But there is no point of that knock if you're playing him at number 6. He should be batting at number 4 for Team India. I know at the very point you lost 2 wickets. You wanted to have a better player to come into bat. But you not even play him at number 5. You play him at number 6. I don't understand the point over there. Then what was Dinesh Karthik doing? You did not give Huda a ball even in both the matches. So there is no reason why Huda should be even there in the lineup. Secondly, if you wanted a bowler, I don't understand. If Avesh Khan was out of the team, you should have drafted Deepak Chahar into the team. I'm still sticking by the very fact that there should be 3 seamers. And today, yet again, we missed the third seamer. And we will talk about Indian bowling. That's another place to scrutinize because that's also a major, major issue for Team India. Some tactical blunders or captaincy errors, which I thought was really baffling from a 5-time IPL winning captain. I never expected that from Rohit Sharma, at least because we criticized Virat Kohli and Ravi Shastri on this channel multiple times. Last
yeah,
year, the same time, we were sitting here calling for the heads of both these players, both one of the coach and one of the players, because they did not deliver us a trophy. And they made some very poor selection calls. Are you going to sit here and say that Rahul Dravid made bad decisions and Rohit Sharma made bad decisions? Or are you going to say that he
yeah.
has got 5 IPL trophies? I'll still defend him. He's my favorite captain. He's so cool under pressure. Tactical blunders can be covered by the knock of 72. Satyabani, I want to come to you right now. I know we all are big fans of Rohit Sharma's captains. I know we all are. But then when it matters the most in 2 crucial games, there were 2 major errors.
I think yeah, the errors were there definitely in the field and with the bowling selections that he did towards the latter part of the game. But I think India mainly lost the game due to their middle order. I
Yeah.
think to be at 109 for two after the at the end of 12 overs in a pitch where at least 180 you had to score because it was a lot easier to bat on the second innings. They had the platform. And you said that even though Rishabh Pant played that innings of 17 of 13 balls, but my point is, if you're number 5, number 6, number 7 coming in at the end of 13th over are playing 17 of 13 ball knocks, even Hardik Pandya played a 17 run knock of 13 balls. That is not their role. 17 of 13 balls is going at below 8 runs per over. You expect them to score at least at over 10 runs per over if they have
Yeah,
sort
I
of
mean,
settled down to play for more than 10
Sanjivani, if I may,
deliveries.
I'll just cut you off there, and I'll add a point. Like last time, also I spoke about this, right? The middle order, including Suryakumar Yadav, scored a runner ball. Today, I'll forgive Suryakumar Yadav because he
Yeah,
came
I
at a
think Surya Kumar
situation
Yadav today needed
where,
to play that
so
innings because Rohit Sharma was going
today
very
he
To
strong
be
at the
very
other end.
today
honest,
his innings is
I,
forgivable because
yes,
we
I totally
require that
agree.
kind of innings today.
I
So
totally
I'm
agree
not
with you.
adding him. I'm not gonna add
But
him to
then
this
yet again,
equation.
that's my point. You would rather have Rishabh Pant in such a situation because he's still an enforcer. Rishabh Pant walking in power play is much more effective than Surya Kumar Yadav walking in power play. Because Rishabh Pant's best you can possibly see is when he bats in the power play. You've seen that with even with Delhi Capitals. If you would have had 1 or 2 good overs there, I know there was a good rebuild of close to 100 runs between Rohit Sharma and Surya Kumar Yadav. They really, took the ship out of deep trouble.
No, but I think I'm
But then
happy with Surya Kumar Yadav at
Yeah, I
number four.
think
I
Suryakumar did
definitely
a good
felt
job,
guys
but
know what?
instead of
Sanjay,
Satyabani,
Hardik
again,
Pandya,
when
we could have
I
Hardik
had
would
Pandya,
at number five. We could have had somebody like a Rishabh Pant at number five or a Deepak Huda at number five.
yeah.
Because out of Deepak Huda, Hardik Pandya and Rishabh Pant, I think Hardik Pandya is a more cleaner striker of the ball. Rishabh Pant plays all those unorthodox shots and gets those runs. And Deepak Huda is a very orthodox cricketer. He scores in the V. And I think
Mhm.
Hardik Pandya, on the other hand, he started going. Hardik Pandya at one point was at 9 of just 10 balls, and he started to play the shots right at the start of the 18th over. So if he was supposed to do that, then why get him in at number 5 instead of somebody like a Rishabh Pant? Get Rishabh Pant in at number 5,
I
Hardik
totally
Pandya
agree
at
with you.
6.
I totally agree with you on that. But my point still is, and I still will maintain that Rishabh Pant is better suited at number 4 for this team India. And with Surya Kumar Yadav's range, what he has got, he can be used in Dinesh Karthik's position if you're not having Dinesh Karthik in the team. You rather use Surya Kumar Yadav in a different
No,
way. I
first of
know
all,
you would want
we
to.
were very clear about the fact that if like, okay, you can go with Deepak Huda because you don't want to change anything. You can go with Deepak Huda, but you have to utilize him as a bowler as well. Deepak Huda can only be a part of your team if he is giving you those 1 or 2 overs with the ball. And if Rohit Sharma, who is
But
clearly not
today,
trusting,
Sandeepani, I also want to make a point. Today, you did not really have an option to go to Deepak Huda because their
but
batters
nobody
got
was working, right? India took their first wicket after 10 or 11 overs. None of the bowlers were working in the first 9-10 overs. So might as well try 1 over from Deepak Huda right after the power play.
if that was the case, because I know they did not go to Deepak Huda because two right-handers were batting, and they went to Yuzvendra Chahal in the power play, and where you should have gone with someone like Ravichandran Ashwin as well. But my point is, if
Because
you
Ravichandran
wanted to
Ashwin
use a
also
spinner,
has some experience bowling in the power play. Yuzvendra
absolutely,
Chahal rarely
absolutely.
bowls in the power play.
Let me make it very clear. If they wanted a spinner to bowl on the power play, they could have gone with Akshar Patel. It still makes the team balanced when you
Yeah,
compare
and
it
I
with
think if
playing with Deepak
Ashwin
Huda.
was playing, if Ashwin is in the team, and you also have Akshar Patel, you can have somebody like Akshar Patel at 7 and Ashwin at 8, because I think Ashwin is
Correct.
capable enough with the bat to
Yeah.
support somebody like Akshar Patel,
No, I
given
mean,
his inexperience in the international
and
side.
that's my point. That's the reason why I'm saying that Dinesh Karthik could have easily played with this combination, because an Ashwin can give you that 15 of, 15 of 7 probably is not what you expect from an Ashwin, but 15 of 10. And that's my
Yeah.
issue with this middle order, right? This middle
Yeah.
order,
I
which
think we
is,
could have had Akshar Patel and Dinesh Karthik in place of Rishabh Pant and Deepak Huda. I think that
yeah,
would
I
have been a
mean,
better
To be very
combination.
honest, if at all they wanted Indian batting lineup to be a little more longer, they could have made Akshar Patel bat at number 6 or number 5, and they could have made they could have used a Nawaz trick or the Jadeja trick, like
Yeah,
send a
yeah.
left hand batter up there to counter Hasaranga, and they could have made Dinesh Karthik bat at number 7. That would have made Indian batting look much more better. I'll also still call it. I've always maintained this that bowling win you championships, and batters can always win you 1 or 2 games. Today also, I still feel we lost the game in the second last over. We took the game deep. Once we got the game back, once we got the game back in our control when we were 4 down, when they were 4 down, we should have absolutely closed this. We have seen this with this team India.
I mean,
I
I'll
think,
go a bit further. I think Abel, we lost the game in the third over. When Arshdeep was swinging the ball in so sharply, both the Sri Lankan batsmen were struggling. And I told yesterday also, when you see these dot balls, Sri Lankan batsmen tend, both the batsmen, both Pathum Nissanka and Kushal Mendis tend to play
yeah,
rash shots. And
I
Kushal Mendis
very good
was
point.
playing those rash shots. Of course, one of them went straight middle of the bat, but you don't see every ball going like that. And Arshdeep Singh was high on confidence. And then you bring in Hardik Pandya. I know on another day
I
it would
would
have
have
worked.
understood that point if they would have kept 3 overs of Arshdeep Singh right till the end. They did not do
Correct.
that. They brought him
They did
back
not do that
right in the
either.
next over.
And they brought
Yeah.
Arshdeep Singh the next over when the ball stopped swinging. When the ball got hit around the park with Hardik Pandya. Hardik Pandya is a very good bowler when in the power play in a Gujarat Titans, not in an
True.
Indian team.
To be honest, in Gujarat Titans, you have a power play ball like Mohammad Shami bowling in the other end.
Yeah.
Here, you don't have a Jasprit Bumrah to really back it up. So the number of wickets which you can pick up in the power play also comes very minimal, right? And Arshdeep Singh, I felt that was a very poor tactical call again to remove him from the attack and bring Hardik Pandya. Hardik Pandya in power play is still a questionable bowler. I still don't rate Hardik Pandya to be a complete 4 overs quota bowler. I still rate him as a 3 overs, 2 overs with Jadeja backing another 2 overs. Hardik Pandya
And
is
I think
just
this team selection would have been only justified if it was okay to have Hardik Pandya bowl 2 or 3 overs when it was not his day, when it is not his day with the ball. You can understand that by 1 or 2 overs
yeah,
itself. So you can give that
absolutely.
six bowling option a go.
Absolutely. Dear Boomerang matches 25 Amazon Watcher, when will it be given? Syed Salim Syed, just be patient. We are going to be sending out all the gift vouchers to all of you people. So if you have any inquiries, you can contact us. You can send in a message on our Instagram as well, and also support. You can contact on support and send a mail at Boom 11 so that we will get back to you very soon. We don't want to delay any of the prices. I'm sure you're one of our loyal fantasy players as well. Just addressing that. Meanwhile, let's get back into the major talking point tonight. Is all about dissecting where India went wrong as India crashed out of another major tournament in Asia this time around, not the World Cup. And I'm happy to say it's not the World Cup, because if it was a World Cup, I would have been much more livid. It's the Asia Cup, so it's a better learning curve than being crashing out of the World Cup.
No, I think
Jaren,
it's still
coming to
they still haven't crashed out yet. I think it's a very small
no,
chance.
I'm not gonna
Pakistan has
I'm
to
not
lose.
gonna pray for Afghanistan again to win. And you saw that in the World Cup last time. We all prayed for
No,
Afghanistan to lose.
just to put it out there, statistically, it's still possible. Mathematically, it's still possible. Afghanistan have to beat Pakistan. Sri Lanka have to beat Pakistan. India have to beat Afghanistan by a huge margin. This is the only
I mean, let's
like
be very honest. If
way.
India are gonna play like this, India are not even gonna defeat Afghanistan. To be very honest with you guys, I was scared of
I also
Afghanistan as
think
a Sri Lanka
you have
match.
to take the toss into consideration. I think toss is a
Let's leave
very
the toss.
important factor.
If you want to win the World Cup, you can't take toss into consideration, Sandeepani. I'm being very honest with you.
Yeah, and also I
That's the
think
whole
the pitches
reason
in
why we
Australia
bought the
are not going
template,
to be
right?
like this, where the
I
player
understand. I
bat
totally
like
understand.
the team
But
batting
then if
second
you
will get
want to
a
win the World Cup,
advantage.
if you want to win World Championships, toss should be thrown out of the window. To be very honest with you, because toss is one factor in a game. And if you are a world champion team, and as we all rate India to be one of the best, right? We've got the best league in the world, we've got the best players in the world, but we can't find a proper 11 for a major tournament. How often have we said this? We've been talking about this for the last three major tournaments. It's not the first time. It's the it's another team management making the same errors. Everybody thought when Virat Kohli and Ravi Shastri stepped down that errors which they repeated in 2019, 2019, 2021 will not be repeated again. Historically, what we have been repeating, we repeated yet again. That is more concerning for me than anything else. I don't mind us crashing
Yeah.
out of the tournament fighting, but then the mistakes is ours. It is us who we should be blame because Rohit Sharma, I totally rate him high as a captain. As in T20, he's a better captain than better than anybody in the world when it comes to tactical calls. But in this tournament, he's been a disappointment because the kind of calls he made, right? Teju has a very good point regarding Bhuvaneshwar Kumar bowling the last two overs. In the last two overs combined in the Pakistan game and today's game, he gave away 33 runs. 33 runs is what cost India two games. We talk about Indian batting. We talk
Not
about Indian.
acceptable from your best bowler
I
in
mean, I
the
totally
at least
understand
the
he's a
most
new ball
experienced
bowler.
bowler in the lineup.
To be very honest, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar had one basic plan. In the last game, he was just sticking to the slow ball. In today's game, he was super predictable by sticking to the line outside the off stump. He was not trying to ball the block hole ball, which he balls right into the stump. And Sri Lankan batters do not have that ram shot or something which they'll hit Bhuvaneshwar Kumar over fine leg. And it's very tough to hit a good Yorker on the block hole over fine leg, to be very honest. And Bhuvaneshwar Kumar did not even try that. That speaks his confidence as well. And that speaks we being very predictable as well. Jen, your thoughts on Bhuvaneshwar Kumar? I know there is no Jasprit Bumrah. I know there is no Harshal Patel, but still, he's your most experienced bowler there. He's been playing international cricket for last 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with the fact that the reason why he's going for runs is because he's being, he's being these. I mean, I think the reason why he's not doing well in the death is because he's being too predictable. Every good, great, yeah, Aisha, I think we
I mean, you can
really.
carry on. You can carry on. You can carry on. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm getting distracted too much by the comments. Bad day for us. But the reason why he's being predictable because he's just bowling one delivery. Every good death bowler knows you need to have minimum two options. That's how you set the field. You look at the Dwayne Bravo, he has three, four options, right? He has a fast searing Yorker, he has a slower ball Yorker, he has a slower ball, the length delivery that he balls. And then you look at someone like a Lasith Malinga, he had a Yorker, he had that, and he had the wide Yorker, he had the Yorker on the leg stump, the middle
Yeah.
stump. Bhuvneshwar Kumar is only coming with one attack. He just has plan A, and if plan A fails, by the time that's the reason why you see first two deliveries of Bhuvneshwar Kumar's over in both Pakistan game and in Sri Lanka game worked. But by the third delivery, the Pakistani batsmen knew what they were going for. And then it was just the Sri Lankan batsman knew what they was going for, and then it was too late. Then Bhuvneshwar Kumar had no option, and we saw that, right? And that's probably the reason why. And for example, I think what he should have probably tried today was to try a Yorker in the middle stump and a Yorker outside off stump. That would have still confused the batsman. So even if you're trying for a ram shot, then the Sri Lankan batsman either will try to play a ram shot, then play as a ram shot from the middle stump. Then a wide Yorker comes in handy. And if he's trying to play a wide Yorker ram shot, then he can play on the middle stump and get him bowled. We saw that. We saw that when Asif, I think who balled the second last over. I think it was Karnar.
Dilshan Madhushanka, that he was so good
Yeah, I
there.
think he
He
balled it
double
to
bluffed them.
Deepak
He
Huda,
double
right? So
bluffed.
Deepak Huda tried to play the ram shot outside off stump. He read it and he balled on the middle stump. And so that is a brilliance, and that's a kid right there. Bhuvneshwar Kumar has bowled so many brilliant overs in the same
And I think
fashion.
it was tactically wrong of Deepak Huda to try that kind of a shot, because we all
Correct,
know that Deepak Huda
correct.
is
But
very good in the V region, and we have been seeing that
yes,
in the last two games he has been
that's
trying
a
to
different
play
discussion,
those
right?
cheeky
That is
shots
something
which
we'll come to.
simply has not been
That's
working.
just,
Yeah.
that's just the ingenuity of Madhushankar, right? That's just common sense right there. Even I think Rajapaksha, when he stormed down against Arshdeep, he had that short ball ready. But why didn't Bhuvneshwar Kumar try that? That is my question. It's just you cannot expect. This is not a lower level cricket where batsmen don't have answers to everything. Batsmen today have answers to everything. So you need to make sure that you ask different questions, different deliveries.
I mean, to be very honest, I also I've been a very big fan of Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, but I can't have him ball at the death overs anymore. To be very frank with you all, last time around when India crashed out of the T20 World Cup, I expected Bhuvaneshwar Kumar to be outside of the team, but then he came back very strong. But let's also keep this into consideration that he's been picking up wickets up front, but he's not been a death ball like how he was in
I
2016,
think
twenty
once
seventeen.
Bumrah walks into the team, and if he does with Bumrah,
I know, I
Arshdeep, or
totally
probably Harshal
understand that
Patel, I think we
Bumrah
will not
miss is
need.
huge,
Yeah,
and Harshal
we
Patel's
will
miss
not
is
need
huge.
Bhuvaneshwar Kumar to bowl in the death overs if Bumrah comes in, because with Bumrah, Arshdeep Singh, and Harshal Patel, hopefully if he is fit, I think with these three, the death overs will be covered, and we
So
can
you're
have
telling
somebody
me
like
that
a
Bhuvan
Chahal in
Kumar
the
doesn't
middle
make
overs.
it to the team at all in Australia?
No, I think he'll definitely make it to the team because he has been struggling the batsman early on. I think even today, the first over was a brilliant one. And I think Pathum Nisanka, India had the right start. Sri Lanka just scored the single of the first over.
To be very honest,
And
I
then,
won't blame Bhuvaneshwar Kumar's upfront bowling. He just gave away 10 runs in 2 overs in the first
yeah,
couple of
nine
overs.
runs in two overs, and he came in to bowl 1 over in the
Yeah,
in the, I think it
he
was
did
the
a decent
13th
job
over.
there. But
Yeah.
I know we've been struggling. We do not have a third pacer, so that's why I blame the selectors also. Here, we went in with two spinners, and in UAE, I keep
I
telling
think
again and again and again,
we
UAE pitches
failed.
don't spin.
We failed in the squad selection itself. Wasim Akram was very right to point out where is the fourth seamer option. It's not like India
Exactly,
doesn't have a. It's not 2003,
exactly,
2007 where India has only three
exactly,
good fast bowlers. India has a
exactly.
treasure trove of fast bowlers. In fact, today's
You had a
spinners are
Prasidh
rare to find
Krishna.
for India.
You had a Prasidh Krishna. You had an Umran
Yes,
Malik. You had a Karthik Tyagi. You have Deepak Chahar waiting there. I'm missing out on names. You have Khalil Ahmed.
you could
I
have
can
just put.
keep on
You
going.
could
I
have
can
thrown
keep on
any
going.
one of these there, not expect them to play a match. But this is exactly the kind of situation, right? Avesh Khan is not playing well. Then you don't have a plan B anymore. You
To
just
be very
expect
honest,
these players to do
this is
well.
exactly where India failed in the last World Cup. Also, India went in with extra pace in extra spinners out of extra seamers. I don't know what is wrong with Indian selection. It's the same selection committee. They made blunders for two consecutive major tournaments in UAE. I seriously don't understand what they have been watching for the last 3 years. If you look at the wickets in UAE for the last 3 years, right? There have been two IPLs. 2020 IPL, who picked up wickets up front? It was Pacers. Who picked up wickets in 2021, the half IPL which was played? It was Pacers. 2021 T20 World Cup, who picked up majority of the wickets? It was the Pacers. You need to understand in UAE, in the worst of conditions, you're also going to get due. So spinners are going to be super ineffective. You always needed a fourth seamer in the team. And if you're going to play three seamers in your lineup, there are always high possibility of your third seamer getting injured, and that's exactly what happened with Avesh Khan. And you do not have a replacement. You went in with a spinner, and you did not have anybody to ball in the death over, and you lost two games because of the very same reason. I even yesterday I was saying that we should draft in Deepak Chahar for the very reason that Deepak Chahar can pick up wickets up front, and he's also a better bowler to ball in the middle overs. And you can give the role to Bhuvaneshwar Kumar that you'll ball two up front and two in the death. But still, we did not do that, and unfortunately, we are here out of the tournament yet again. And I blame the selectors for this. I won't even blame.
But
I
I
of
think
course
that
blame
wouldn't have
captain as a
solved
coach, but
anything, because Bhuvneshwar Kumar really struggled in the death overs. In the last game as well, in today's game as well, Bhuvneshwar Kumar has been struggling in the death overs. So India really does not have another death over bowler along with Arshdeep Singh. I think Arshdeep
absolutely.
Singh did a fair enough job in the death overs, and Arshdeep Singh is not a opening bowler. I think Arshdeep Singh
Yeah.
has been
Yeah,
struggling opening the bowling for India. Even today he went for 26 runs of the first two overs, came back, went for only 14 runs in his last 11 deliveries, and
Correct.
probably if Rishabh Pant could have affected that run out with three stumps to aim with the gloves off, I think things could have been
I
different with
mean, this is
two needing
where
of one
there
ball
were
and a
two
new batsman
incidents
in.
in today's game. I know I can't, that man is irreplaceable. But there were two incidents today where I missed that lightning quick gloves and one hand throws and that
Yeah,
running and
Shanaka would
taking
have
a
been
stump
out
off.
first ball itself. Shanaka
Yeah,
would have been out stumped
You
for a
no,
know,
ball
one
itself.
well,
man
one
who
more thing,
makes
which
these
probably
moments.
is the
No, no,
astuteness of the
I
man.
don't even want to mention the name. Right, the whole of the
You
world knows
you
who that man
missed
is.
you missed the astuteness of the man in T20 cricket. That's
You missed
all
him.
I'm going
You
to say.
missed him. You missed him in
You
finishing. You
and you know
missed him in
what? I'm gonna
finishing.
take a dig here. Being a CSK fan, I'm gonna take a dig here. That man has won you championships with a team which you probably wouldn't see in this Indian team today. No, the
Yeah,
fast bowlers that he had to deal with. He's created fast bowlers for this country. He's
I
created
mean,
spinners for this country.
that man was just astute. I'm not going to take that guy's name today at all. You know who he is. You know the place he has in everybody's heart. You know it, right? The lightning. Let's talk about that moment of Champions Trophy 2013. Ian Bell's stumping. Nobody would have done it except him. It was a similar kind of a
Oh, the
ball.
2016 no,
I mean,
T20 World Cup. The
yes,
one
you have
of
it right
Hardik
there.
Pandya, right?
No, absolutely. Chinnaswamy moment. Who
Yeah,
doesn't remember
exactly.
that?
Teju called it
Who doesn't?
perfectly.
Everybody remembers that. That's exactly where you needed that man. 2 runs, one man to throw at it, one man who could have aimed at it. I mean,
I
he's
think we
missing
can
right
come
now.
to the present, and I think with having all that said, I think Rishabh Pant should have hit
He should have.
three
He should
with
have.
three stumps to aim at without the gloves, with certain, like, with at least 3 or 4 seconds to think
This
about
is
it.
where you not. I mean, this is now getting into minute details of where you lost the game. I
No,
don't
no, no.
think we should
It's not
blame
just
him.
about that, but I think he did not keep well as well. I think, yeah, the stumping chance was a bit difficult. You get
But
it.
Sanjima,
Chahal bowled a full delivery. It was down the leg.
Sanjimani, I understand that some big chance was difficult. If you remember India, some of the biggest wins, right, where we have created victories, especially against Sri Lanka, especially against Bangladesh. There were these moments where you make half chances into complete, and you come back into the game strongly. These leg side stumping,
Yeah, I mean,
Ashwin
you
bowling
just
to MS
told
Dhoni.
me
I
not
took
to
the
get
name
into
by
the
mistake,
minute
but
details,
then
so I think this was.
Ashwin there, and MS Dhoni keeping there. That's it, gone. That's exactly what you needed. And
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, that we don't have him right now, and I don't want to talk
And
about him.
I,
Let's
I
talk about
think
the future.
today, definitely, I think Rishabh Pant had a horrible game. Deepak Huda had a game to forget, and I think definitely Hardik Pandya too did not have the best of days, and Bhuvneshwar Kumar 2 days in a row bowling in the death overs. I think these four would be the more disappointed ones.
I mean,
Arshdeep
ultimately,
went for 40 runs
one
of
bit of
3.5 overs, but I won't blame him completely
absolutely.
because he was coming off from after so much scrutiny to come in. Yeah, he considered 26 runs in those 2 overs, but think about it. He
I
was
think it was
under
just
the
his one
scrutiny
over that went
throughout.
for so much, right? I
Yeah,
think his one over
he
went for some 20 something.
no, his 1 over went for 18. He considered 8 in the
Yeah, so I
first over,
think if you
18 in the
remove
second
that
over.
one
Yeah,
over, then you suddenly see a very good, very good figures.
yeah, very good
That
spell.
one over,
I
I
mean,
think you can let it go because that Sri Lankan batsman just that pair was just ripping into everyone.
I mean,
yeah,
Arshdeep
yeah.
I
was the
mean, we will
youngest
be
bowler
talking
that
about Sri
that they
Lanka.
ripped
We
into.
have to talk about Sri Lanka. Before we get on to Sri Lanka, I'll answer Abhishek right here. I more than Dinesh Karthik, the keeper, I feel Dinesh Karthik, the batter, would have done India the world of good. That 10 runs or 7 runs would have saved India the game. That's exactly what Dinesh Karthik was doing for RCB. I'm not because I'm an RCB fan, because I know the range which Dinesh Karthik has got. That shot which Deepak could have played, if it was Dinesh Karthik, he would have actually rammed it over because Dinesh Karthik is much more of a proactive cricketer than Deepak Huda there. And also with Dinesh Karthik, what you get is it's very tough to set a field for him because he's got a ramp, he's got a reverse ramp, he's got a shot, he's got a very strong leg side zone. He can also take the ball to the offside. He and Surya Kumar Yadav are the only two Indian batters in T20 cricket in the country right now who has got a 360-degree angle. And that's where you use the ground dimensions also into account. You take the ground dimensions also into account. We missed him dearly
Yeah.
when it comes to batting. When it comes to keeping, I can still say Pant is a better keeper than Dinesh Karthik at the very point because Dinesh Karthik, with the age, he's not agile. He's still
And
very fit.
but I think you said the same about Ashwin. Ashwin with the age, but I would definitely think that Asalanka, the dismissal of Asalanka, the more credit should go to Ashwin because it was that stop of the first delivery that Asalanka faced. Ashwin made a full length dive at covers to save that
Yeah.
not covers. I think mid wicket. He made that
I
full
mean, I'm
length
just
dive
talking
to
about
prevent that
Pant.
single.
If you compare Pant versus DK in keeping
I
skills,
think, yeah,
maybe
keeping
I would
wise,
still feel that it's 50-50. I mean, if
it's
DK and Pant
I
both
feel
play,
just by looking at the keeping acumen, I think Rishabh Pant is a better keeper. Um, and it's a
but
difficult
Dinesh
task for
Karthik is a
any
better
keeper.
better fielder. I mean, any day. Dinesh Karthik, we all know him for even with this age. He's an electric fielder.
I mean,
Have him
he
at
is.
deep
He
mid
is.
wicket. Have
I
him
mean,
at
let me
long
let
on.
me also let me also clarify. If you remember the number of innings he's kept for India in the last 10 innings or last 15 innings, he has dropped multiple catches and he has missed multiple stumpings as well. Because if you have followed Dinesh Karthik since his comeback in the Indian team, he has missed multiple catches. So he's not still
I mean,
best with
so
the
has
glove
Rishabh
when you
Pant. I
compare
mean,
him
he
to.
has not been the
But
best
Rishabh Pant
keeper,
is still a
best
better glove
person
man.
behind the gloves.
You're just blaming Rishabh Pant for one stumping and also for that one
No, no, no.
run
Definitely, we
out.
are not blaming out here, but I'm just saying that it would have been 50-50. I mean,
I mean,
Dinesh Karthik on his
it's
best
just
days can
you're,
can
you're
can pull it
going
off
too
as
much
well.
into detail. I miss Dinesh Karthik the batter, and India made a huge blunder in playing Deepak Huda ahead of Dinesh Karthik. And I don't even know the reason why he was dropped. I know it is to bring a left-hander. Sometimes I just want to ask you people this question, Jen, especially to you. Don't you think having this left-hander is also a thing which is playing behind your mind? It just spoils and it just takes you away from your initial simple planning, which you should have stuck with. Because in order to get a left-hander in the team, you have to completely dismantle the entire team combination. All what you had to do was to stick with Dinesh Karthik and play Deepak Huda also if you wanted to, or go in with Akshar Patel. Because you wanted to bring in a left-hand batter to replace Ravindra Jadeja, you'd actually completely dismantle team combination, which resulted in two losses for Team India.
I mean, I'll agree with some. Sometimes I feel matchups are a bit too overrated. I feel I've seen this happen. I'm not saying they are not supposed to be in the team. They are not supposed to be in the scheme of things. They are very important, but sometimes you have to realize that matchups is not the only thing, right? It's not like you haven't seen a right-hander being able to get away with a leg spinner, or a right-hander being able, or a left-hander being able to hit a off spinner. We have seen that. We've seen a lot of, like, for example, Ravi Bishnoi, right? A very good example. I mean, I'm not saying Ashwin was a bad pick today. Ashwin improved his metal, but and many commentators said that maybe that's the reason why you got Ashwin in, and Ashwin has a great record against Sri Lanka. But I'm just using that as
And
one
Ashwin has a
example.
great record against the left-handers, which
Correct.
he bowled
And
really well to the
I'm
left-handers.
not saying that this is an example that applies today. I'm just saying this is an example that I've seen time and time again. Just because you have a left-hander batting, it doesn't mean that you can't use a leg spinner. If a leg spinner is good enough, and if you don't have another option, you can go ahead with it. That is the example that I'm going to give here, right? You are thinking that, okay, you are thinking that maybe someone like a Rishabh Pant is a better batter than a Akshar Patel, and that's the reason why you're mixing things up. Where it could be a very simple equation: bring Akshar Patel in. Why not? What has he done wrong? He hasn't done anything
And
wrong to
Akshar
be
Patel
out of the
has
team.
been in the best of forms with his bat. If you look in the
Yeah, and I mean
last 3 months, he has won
he's
India
played
three
a.
games, finishing the game off.
If you are questioning his batting abilities, remember the game against Mumbai Indians. He took that game
Forget
way
that.
into the.
Forget that. Remember his international game against West Indies where he took the game
Yeah,
deep and won the game. He played one of the best knocks for an Indian batter to finish a game off.
and
And he's in one of the
I
best
think
forms as well.
against I mean, I think, like, at least again, if you're facing an Australia where you have a Mitch Stark, Josh Hazelwood, Pat Cummins coming in, I can still argue, okay, fine, maybe Deepak Hooda is a better choice here. These are not as potent ballers, right? These are ballers that I think Akshar Patel can take any day, and
Absolutely,
Deepak Hooda is
absolutely.
not scoring runs either way, and it's
True.
not his role. I think Deepak Hooda is not an
I mean,
all rounder.
let me also make it very
He's
clear that it is unfair on Deepak Huda as well. Because what I
correct.
see with Deepak Huda, you play him at number 4 for your state team, you play at number 3 for your IPL franchise, and you put him in a position where he shouldn't be batting at number 7 for Team India. I know India is looking at him as a finisher. You try the same thing with Venkatesh Iyer also. You totally messed his mind up. Yeah, for Kolkata, he opens batting. For Team India, he used to bat as a finisher, and that resulted in a slump of form as well, because it really put him in a conundrum where he didn't know what should he be really focusing on. Should he be focusing as an opener? Should he be focusing as a
Yeah.
finisher? I hope
And
that
I'm
doesn't
afraid
happen
the
with Deepak
same thing
Huda.
is going to happen with Deepak Huda as well. I think he's not a batter who can just come in and slog right from ball one. And we have seen it, and he's getting under pressure, and he's trying to play those unorthodox shots, which are not
Yeah,
his, which is
he's
not
trying to
his
be.
game. He's
He's
a
in
very
himself.
orthodox player according to me.
Yeah.
He plays in that long off to long on region, that V region, and it's very peculiar why they went with this. And I totally agree with the Akshar Patel point, because you feel that Rishabh Pant is a better batter, but you have to see the team balance as well. With Deepak Huda playing, you are just going in with 5 bowlers if you are not making Deepak Huda ball. So
You
might as
need a
well
six
play.
baller. You definitely need a six baller. That's why I felt,
Yeah,
like to like replacement for Ravindra Jadeja was Akshar Patel. It is not Deepak
Yes.
Huda.
and they would not have to make so many changes and sort of try out so many combinations if they would have simply gone for Akshay Patel instead of Ravindra Jadeja.
And
But I think they felt
I'll
that the
add another
batting will
point
be
to it.
weak.
Deepak Huda has not been the baller that he was initially. He is not as much as a baller, because I think he's worked a lot more on his batting. He's playing for Lucknow as a batsman. someone who can roll his arm once in a while when the team needs. I think in
Yeah.
the past 9 international T20 games he's played for India, he's only balled three matches. He's only balled in 3 matches. That itself shows that Indian team has not looked at him as a bowler at all. And if you're not looking at him as a bowler, then he doesn't belong that lower down the order. Then you bring him up at number four, number five.
I
If you're
think
not bringing
India
him at
just
number four,
went with
number
the
five, you should,
combinations. They thought
you
Deepak
know,
Huda, having played 17 international games, India won 17. They tried him in the
If
Pakistan game,
you
and,
want to
and
go with such a luck, then I
now
think it's
it's
better
17-2.
going with some.
and I'll
Any, I
add,
think you can get better lucky
he's
personalities.
played
Better you don't play
all
a
those
player
matches
and
as a
get him
top order
self-select.
batsman. He's
I mean,
played
if
all
India
those
is
matches as a top order batsman, right?
true, true, true. I mean, no. I'll tell you. He has played as a middle order batter. When he came into the Indian team for the first 3-4 matches, where India tried him at number 6, and I was not impressed with that at all because he couldn't just get going because his range is very limited. Just remember that if you're playing Virat Kohli at number 6 and you're telling him, "Come on, Virat Kohli, play a lap,
Yeah,
play this shot, play that shot," it's not going to work. Same thing, right? You played Rohit Sharma for first 3-4 years. You played him at number 6. You played him at number 5. It never worked out. That's why you had to shift him up top, and he totally changed his career from there on. And Deepak Huda clearly showed for Baroda and also for Rajasthan and also now for LSE, he showed that he's a number 3 batter. You can rely him at number 3. He should be a like-to-like replacement of Virat Kohli. If Virat Kohli is injured, you should bring in
correct,
Deepak Huda
correct.
and he can roll you over. He can roll his arm a
I
little bit
think
more.
Abel, I think the issue here is that I think the one experiment that set the scores up, right? Set this whole thing up is the Amazoni experiment. He came into the team as a top order batsman, and then they replaced him, they put him into that lower order, and he worked. He really, changed the game, or his game changed there. But it doesn't work with everyone. You
Yeah.
have to think about it in this fact. I mean, even for someone like a KL Rahul, but KL Rahul is an exception because it worked in ODI.
Hmm.
And as if you're a
But
middle order
KL
batsman in
Rahul was
ODI,
always a
then
middle order
you're
batter. Let
equivalent
me
to an
make
opener in
you
a
adjust.
T20 match because you're getting
KL
120
Rahul
balls.
KL Rahul was a middle order batter. KL Rahul was never an opener. KL Rahul was made to be an opener because India had to bring him up top as a makeshift
Yeah,
one.
I think that's a right point. Now that you mention it, and at international level, at the highest level, you have to see how that batsman, that player came into contention of selection, how that bowler came into contention of selection. For
Yeah.
example, Arshdeep Singh himself. Arshdeep Singh was selected because of his death bowling, not because of
Yeah.
his power play bowling.
True, true, absolutely, and I totally agree with you on this. It's like telling that Virat Kohli, "Aap jaake finish karo game."
Yeah,
It's just not possible.
it's
It's
as
not
versus
possible.
yeah, it's not, it did not work, right? It's
And
not gonna
it's
work.
also telling Ashwin, "Aap jaake death mein bowling karo." It's
And
not how
then
he bowls.
you're not even, it's not even like you're allowing them game time, you're allowing them matches to make the transition. You're throwing them in an Asia Cup knockout. How is that gonna work?
And you would rather throw a Akshar Patel who has been finishing games consistently for Team India. He finished 3 games in his last 8 innings for Team India, and he won 3 games for Team India. Can you believe one of the knocks was 60 of 30 odd balls against West
Yeah,
Indies, where he finished the game of India in 6 of 3 balls. So he's got that ability of the long range. His range has been much better. He's improved on his offside play, and also now also remember with the kind of bowling attack as you mentioned with Sri Lanka, you had one leg spinner. I bet he could have taken on someone like a Vanindu Hasaranga as well. If you're a little insecure with Akshar Patel, the batter, you could have sent him in at number 5. That could have absolutely actually, widened our batting lineup as well. Then Hardik comes at number 7. You could have actually given that extra bit of range.
I
And
mean,
with DC at number 7, it
And
with
I
becomes.
Akshar
think that
Patel
was my
as,
problem with Team India in today's game. The middle order, actually, they did not. They took the game too deep. They did not need to take the game till the 18th over to try and accelerate. I think they were 109 for 2 at the end of 12 overs. They lost Rohit Sharma. They lost Surya Kumar Yadav. But at the end, they were only 127 for 4 at the end of 15 overs. So basically, right before accelerating, they had scored some uh, 35, 36 runs in the period from 12th to 17th overs. They,
Hmm.
they, they had no momentum going into the last 3 overs. And
Even,
suddenly Hardik
even if
Pandya decided
there
to
was no
go.
momentum, you expected India to finish with a flourish. Where India really lost the plot was India lost 3 quick wickets towards the last 3 overs,
So
if
my
I'm
point
not
is,
wrong.
this is not the first time it has been happening. Now this has been
this is a
happening for 2
10.
consecutive games. So they are clearly missing out on how to go
And
about
what
it
was India's
right at the
solution?
end.
And what was India's solution before this Asia Cup? It was Dinesh Karthik. Dinesh Karthik used to walk in these situations. Dinesh
And
Karthik
I
in the
Yes.
think
last eight
India's
innings
solution
had
even at the
two
start
marriages.
of
If
this
you are
Asia Cup
insecure
was Dinesh
about
Karthik. I don't
if
know
you
where
are
the
insecure
agenda
about
changed.
batting of Akshar Patel, bring in Dinesh Karthik. That sorts your problem right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Akshar Patel
Absolutely. I
and Dinesh
totally
Karthik
agree.
in place of Rishabh Pant and Deepak Huda.
Yes,
Right?
That is exactly how it should have been.
and India tried to fix something that was not broken. That's where things the system broke, right?
True, true. I mean,
I mean,
that
Indian
is
middle
where I
order
expect
right
him to
now
work with. Yeah,
in the last game, Indian middle order we spoke about it. I think they scored some 37 of 34.
yeah.
Today, Hardik Pandya, Deepak Huda, and Rishabh Pant combined have scored 30, 38 if I'm not wrong. I think they've scored 37 in 30 deliveries. That's not even what you want in power play. You criticize Virat Kohli for playing that innings, but put together, your lower middle order has dug the hole and then buried Indian lineup.
I mean, today Virat Kohli played a shot which is so unlike Virat Kohli. I really thought he should not have played that. He was looking in very good touch throughout the Asia Cup, playing proper cricketing shots. I don't know why he did that. I don't know if it was to just to up the ante and go in with that template which India has set. So I think if him being the anchor, he should not have done that. But then also again, KL Rahul is also under scrutiny. Another innings, last match he
I
looked
think he
good,
was
but then
just trying to disrupt Madhushankar's line and length. I think with that,
I mean,
if he would have somehow got that shot going, I think it
see,
would have kicked off
let's
his
let's
innings.
let's leave the top order aside. I won't blame Virat Kohli and KL Rahul. Both tried, kind of showed some bit of intent, and Virat Kohli got off or not. It can happen with any batter in the world. But
And
then
that was
where
not a
we
bad
lost the
delivery,
plot was
right? That
after
was a
having that
good
good
in swinging
sequence.
delivery, a left-hander in swinging delivery hitting top of leg, middle and leg. It's not easy to play that delivery, even if you're trying to defend it. Virat Kohli was struggling, right? Virat Kohli was not able to get going, and so he tried to play a jail break shot. As Sandipani is right, if it had come off, suddenly you might have seen a Madhushanka ball a wider length or ball
Hmm.
a fuller length, and then Virat Kohli just eating him for dinner. But that didn't
But then
happen because
that
Madhushanka
has
bowled
been
a good
Virat
one.
Kohli's sort of let down over the last one and a half years. The ball coming in from a
I
left
mean,
hand
no,
seamer.
I mean Virat Kohli barely struggles such ball, especially when
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
going
he
for
gets
leg
he gets
swing.
LBW. He gets out
He gets LBW,
LBW.
he doesn't get ball. I barely have seen him get ball,
We
unless
never see Virat Kohli going for such an expensive shot with such a gap between bat and the pad. And I think that
I
was
mean,
very
we had to do a lot with the kind of start we got. We were 2 overs, 11 runs, and we had
Yeah,
really
I
had to
think it was
get
just the fact that
going.
Indian middle order is trying to play that new, template, and that's justifiable because India had lost one wicket only, and
Yeah.
Virat
But I
after
think
Virat Kohli's
that
wicket,
is
I think
that did
Indian
not
batsmen
affect
kind of
India
slowed
too
down.
much because I think Surya Kumar Yadav and Rohit Sharma, yeah, Rohit Sharma was bad with his captaincy, but I think he was super with the bat. He
I mean,
he
Yeah,
totally
knew
agree with
what
you.
to do,
I
and
mean,
I think it was a very
thank
good
you.
of coming, like sort of at least coming to some form for Rohit Sharma. He has been having those 20s and 30s. We have been vocal about how in today's days, I mean, 30 run of 20 ball is a good enough knock with a strike rate of 150 if you can score 30-35 at the top of the order. But I
Yeah.
think for Rohit Sharma's confidence, this was needed. I think 17 games
yeah.
this year. I think this was his second half century. I think it was needed for somebody like a Rohit Sharma to boost his confidence that he can go for those shots and sometimes bear the fruits as well. We have
I
been seeing
totally
that
agree
Rohit
with
Sharma
you.
is getting
I
set and
totally
getting
agree
out,
with you on
but
this.
today's knock I think was a very good knock from Rohit Sharma to sort of lay the platform for Team India to have a very good finish,
Let's
at least get
also
to 180,
remember that
190.
he looked like he was batting on a different pitch altogether. The kind of the kind of shots which he played,
I
the
think
kind
the
of
ball was
impact which he
holding
had
up a
was
little
brilliant.
early on, but I think
Yeah.
once the power play was done, I think the ball was coming onto the bat
I
pretty
mean,
well.
that's
So
the thing with
I
Dubai
don't think the
wicket. We
pitch was there
also
to blame.
mentioned that earlier because they water the wicket before the match. The pitch tends to be sticky compared to other wickets across the world, and it gets better and better as a team as a match goes on. That's why teams winning the toss tends to ball first, make use of that stickiness of the wicket, get a couple of wickets up front, put the batting team on the back foot as well. But today, here yet again, I am a little disappointed with the fact that Indian middle order did not click. Indian middle order did not have a set plan. Role definition was missing. With Rahul
Yeah.
Dravid and Rohit Sharma, I expected one thing to be very clear was role defining, and role defining was missing clearly in today's game. And Dinesh Karthik was one player I expected. Yet time and time again, I bring up his name because he was your answer to all the finishing issues which you had over the last couple of years in T20 cricket. And he got you two man of the matches in 8 innings, and a player of such an impact being dropped right after first game, it just took me back. But we were the same people also advocated Rishabh Pant should be back in the team, provided if Ravindra Jadeja was in the team. Provided if Ravindra Jadeja was in the team. As Ravindra Jadeja is not there, we wanted Dinesh Karthik to continue because we know what can possibly happen. Because
No,
Ravindra
I
Jadeja
think
being there,
I think the role definition from the management and if it was to be considered, I think Dinesh Karthik was given the game ahead of Rishabh Pant in the very first game itself, and and
yeah.
and that showed that they had confidence in Dinesh Karthik over Rishabh Pant to finish the job for Team India. And I did
Mm.
not understand why the agenda changed suddenly when Jadeja got injured. I
No,
think
I
bringing
think
in Akshar Patel and asking him to do the same job with Dinesh Karthik in the team would have been a very easy sort of a
And
solution.
and
They
Sandeep,
tried to
let
get
me make it
this
very clear.
complicated.
Sandeep, I think I have two answers for that. I think the management, the way Jadeja experiment worked with Pakistan, and then him getting injured, I think then just paranoia set into that team. They felt
Mm.
like, okay, now Jadeja is not there. We cannot play this card ever again against any
Yeah,
team. And
there was
then
quite a
Akshay
bit of
Patel
panic.
might not be able to do the same role.
Yeah,
So we need
there
someone
was
like
panic.
Rishabh Pant. And
But also,
then you send
Kiran and
someone like
Sandeep,
Rishabh
let
Pant.
me also point out
But
in
then
the
Rishabh
last
Pant
couple
coming
of
in at
series,
number 4 in the last game against Pakistan, he did not have that intent which
But
he did
then
Jadeja
not
showed.
come
you
I
at
think he
didn't.
number
was
four.
very.
Well,
That
I felt
was
like you
my
didn't
Yeah,
point.
define
at
his
number
role
5. Yeah, I
because
mean he
I
came in
think
the
you
middle order.
yourself put it well. You yourself put it well. Okay, fine. You send someone like a Rishabh Pant up. Maybe you make these changes to the team, but then you didn't define the role. No one knew who the finisher was. I think Hardik Pandya getting out against Pakistan was a bad thing. Was a terrible thing to happen for the Indian team. It kind of derailed that innings. But Rishabh Pant didn't know what he was supposed to do in the crease. Was he supposed to stabilize the innings? Was he
Yeah,
supposed to finish the innings? Was he supposed to throw Pakistani bowlers off their lines?
yeah.
He did not know what he was doing.
Yeah, both Jen and
And
Sandeep, I'll also like to point out over here one thing. In the last couple of series when India has played, Dinesh Karthik and Akshar Patel were India's number 6 and number 7. And India won majority of those games. So there is a clear chemistry between these both players. If you remember in West Indies, it was Dinesh Karthik, Akshar Patel, and Ravichandran Ashwin. You have 5, 6,
one
7,
may say that
6,
the
7, 8.
oppositions were a bit weak, but I think this Sri Lankan team should have been beaten. I think the on
Absolutely.
paper at least India are were the clear favorites. I think we were very clear with the fact that even if Jadeja was missing from the team, I think with the batting and the bowling unit that Team India has on paper, I think they were the clear favorites,
You know,
especially because Sri Lanka
all,
struggled to win against
yeah, true.
Afghanistan and Bangladesh.
True, true. I totally agree. And also another thing is that whenever Jadeja was not there in Team India, who was the player who used to come to replace Ravindra Jadeja? It was Akshar Patel. It was not
Yeah,
Deepak Huda. If you remember the last couple of seasons, Jadeja did take rest.
in
So one
fact,
player
I
you always
think
had in the team was Akshar Patel. And all of a sudden in Asia Cup, you don't trust him. What is the need of playing him all this while then if you don't trust him in a major tournament like this? So that
yeah.
is why I was baffled. That is why I'm still baffled. That's why I still blame the team management and the coach and the captain for this particular team selection because it doesn't make any sense for me to not have Akshar Patel in the team when he was in good form with the bat, and he's a very good fielder, and also he can pick you up wickets couple here and there as well. So here I'm totally baffled. I think there needs to be big questions which needs to be asked to Rahul Dravid and Rohit Sharma. I don't know
And I think
who
this
has
is
come
only
for the
going to
press conference.
unsettle the team and the management furthermore, because with this exit they are still not they still don't have a sort of a top 15 for the World Cup, and with
Yeah,
this performance by this team in the Asia Cup, I think it is going to confuse the management further. And I just think that with something that we brought up a long time back, when Dravid was really experimenting with different captains for Team India, I think we
I
were
mean
very clear with the
there's
fact
an
that if you
inherent
have,
issue there.
yeah, if we have 20-25 players at the end of Asia Cup, whom are you going to, which top 15 are you going to play if you're consistently changing your teams for different uh, tournaments, different bilateral series? Yeah, I get it that the teams are weak, you might give some of your senior players a rest, but with your like you need to have the team combination as well. 11 individuals playing individually cannot win you the game. You have to play as a team to win you the game. I think that
True,
is
true.
something
Spot on
which
there.
Sri Lanka showed today. I think
Yeah,
this is why Sri Lanka has been winning. I think even against Afghanistan, there were four
yeah,
players scoring in 30s. Even in
yeah,
today's game, there were two half centuries. Then Dasu
yeah,
Vishanaka came in,
yeah.
scored that
True,
knock.
true,
Madhushanka with the ball, and
true.
I think even Chamika Karunaratne with the ball did a fabulous job.
Mm.
So I think
Absolutely.
that was not there
Absolutely.
with
Totally agree
Team
with you.
India. I think there are individual superstars who are not who are not being able to pull it together as a team. And I
I mean,
think
India were doing a very good job until the Asia Cup. Even the roles were well defined. Even in the Pakistan game, India put up a very good 11. But after that, I know one player being such an integral part of the team, he can dismantle the team. But I never expected India's combination to go totally out of the window. I always expected India to have a plan B, and the plan B should have been Akshar Patel. I know you don't have a Washington Sundar, and Akshar Patel is a much better batter than Washington Sundar as well. But also here, as you mentioned about Team India chopping and changing for every series, it did have an effect ultimately if you look at things. For example, you had 7 or 8 captains in the last 12 months. You had different teams going into different series. You had different players stepping in different formats. So it was so disjointed that all of a sudden in a major tournament you had to pick up your best 11. And I thought Indian team 11 was almost clear. Every
Yeah, but
player almost picked
yeah.
themselves up except for 2 roles. And those 2 roles were Dinesh Karthik's role and also your third seamer's role. And that's exactly where India lost the tournament.
and I think it has to do with some injuries as well. Jadeja, and as I've been saying, very like Jadeja and Hardik Pandya are the fulcrum of the team. these two all rounders keep your team balance going. I mean, India has five very good batters, and India has four very good bowlers. But it is these two all rounders that get the team glued, because you
Yeah,
have your fifth and sixth bowling option in the form of Jadeja and Hardik Pandya, and you also have two of your players who can bat at any roles. They can
yeah,
come in the middle order. They can come in to finish the job for the team, and they can also play mature knocks. I mean, Jadeja and Hardik Pandya both have come in at number 4, number 5, and done the job for the team as well. So I
absolutely.
definitely think losing Jadeja at this juncture was a very unfortunate incident.
True,
But having
true.
said that, I think India should have won today. And I think team selection and the sort of the combination was something where they went wrong. But I
And
really
what
think that
next
this
for Team
is,
India now? What
yeah,
is
this
next
is
for
high
Team
time
India?
they get
Now,
up. I mean, now
I
just
mean,
with 1 month to go, they have to make some critical decisions on who will be in their top 15 at least.
I
absolutely.
mean, able I mean, at least one advantage of chopping and changing is that you have a multitude of options, right? You have like for like replacements for everyone, and that's what
Yeah,
we thought. But
hmm.
now that two things, right? I mean, Avish Khan not being selected, not doing well has hurt India a lot,
Yeah,
and that is evident, right? That is the reason why we see these changes in the bowling lineup at least. Um, but then, given the fact that you had at least the fact that you groom so many players by chopping and changing, then you should trust in them. Then
yeah,
you don't
absolutely.
trust in him either, and you're chopping and changing, so you're
What
not
is the
like
point
allowing
of
players to
playing
settle
your
down.
bench when you give them, series which are not relevant and you groom them, and when it matters the most, when you need them
Correct,
to step up, you
correct.
don't play them.
Yes,
You are like, I don't trust this player. And the funny part is this bench players have done really well. For example,
yeah.
Akshar Patel has been in red hot form.
I
That's the
mean,
reason he's been
you
a
see
replacement for
the.
Ravindra Jadeja.
I mean, I know these are not the same set of players. I'm not saying, and I know probably there's not even a good parallel to draw here. But you saw what happened in the Australia series when you gave confidence to those youngsters. These
Hmm.
are world beaters. They can, on their own day, these players can take it up. And Akshay Patel
But
is
having
an
said that, you have to
experienced player.
define their roles
It's
properly. I
not like
mean,
he's a
role
Akshay
definition is
Patel
a
is not
very
a
important factor when you give
yeah,
youngsters a rope in. So
True.
I definitely
correct.
feel that they failed in the roles
I
sort of
don't
role.
blame the players.
Yeah.
I really don't blame the players. Shivani has asked a question: do you blame specific players or the team? I don't blame the players because if you're playing Deepak Huda out of position, you're playing Pant out of position. How can you blame them? They can only do for what they ask for, right? And you can say when you play for your country, you should be able to do anything and everything. It doesn't work in cricket like that. If you have played cricket, you need to have your role defined. I can't go tell an off spinner, "Bhai, tu aaj death mein bowling dalega." He has been balling up front. He's been balling in the middle overs for throughout. He's not mentally ready to ball in the death. I know when you play for the
Yeah.
country, you need to put your heart on the sleeve,
And I
but it
think Sri
doesn't work.
Lanka's weakness were their death over bowling, was their death over bowling, the last 5 overs. And I think Sri Lanka just conceded 46 runs in their last 5 overs. India
He
should
did,
have
yeah.
at least scored 63 of the last five with 7 wickets in hand.
True,
With
true.
7 or 6 wickets in hand.
Both the games you lost because of the last 5 overs late flourish. In
Yes.
T20 cricket, in modern
And
T20
I
cricket,
think
you get 70 odd runs in
it's the
last five
middle
overs.
orders. I think it's the middle order that lost India the game rather than the bowlers. I think it was a pitch where the bowlers really could not do much. They did not have any assistance from the pitch.
And
Whatever they
also when
did,
it
I think
comes
it
to
was their,
bowling,
yeah.
I also feel in today's game we could have really used Akshar Patel, 1 or 2 overs if he was there. When Shanaka would have come into bat, you would have rather given the ball to Akshar Patel with the ball also gripping quite a bit. I bet, Akshar Patel would have been a tougher bowler to face in this kind of wickets where the ball is holding on slightly with the pace at which he balls. He could have gotten the ball to grip slightly and Shanaka would have been in trouble. That's what I believe. That's what I'm visualizing at this very point. Hypothetically looking at things, you can say this should have happened, this would have happened, but now you need to be much more practical at this very point. If Jadeja is not going to be there for the World Cup, which is highly likely at this very point, is it going to be Akshar Patel or is it going to be Deepak Huda? Now, this is going to be an issue for Team India to really deal with.
But I
I'm
think we
not
can
sure
take
that.
some positives at least from this game. I think the top order batting is one positive that I'll be taking. Whatever I've seen in the last 2 games, I think I mean, both in one of the games, I think KL Rahul and Kohli got us off to a good start, and Rohit Sharma as well contributing. And in today's game, I think Rohit Sharma played a gem of a knock. And along with that, I think another positive that they can take is Ravichandran Ashwin.
Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
backing him to play for all these 3 games, especially because of his experience. He
Yeah,
performed with the bat, 15 of 7 balls when Team India needed it. He did his job with the ball coming in, picking up picking up Gunatilaka, who scored 1 of 7 balls.
yeah,
Again, something I so heavily rely on experience just for this reason. I think if it would have been Dinesh Chandimal coming into bat at number 4 for Sri Lanka, I think it would have been a different case altogether. I don't think India could have taken the game so deep. I think it was because of these inexperienced players coming in at 4 5, and I think Rajapaksha got very lucky. I think
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was deceived by
absolutely.
the flight in that ball, Ravichandran
Yeah.
Ashwin. I think the ball just sailed over deep mid wicket. I
I
think he
mean, it
was
could have
very
gone
lucky.
either way. It could have
Yeah, it
stuck.
could have gone either way. And
But
I
again,
think
it
a
could
big
have,
positive is
that
our
could have.
20th over bowler. I think we have a bowler to bowl our death overs. I think Arshdeep Singh, under extreme pressure, coming into
Yeah.
defend 7 runs in both the games,
If
did a
you'd have got
fabulous
three
job.
more runs, you would have defended that. If you'd have got three more runs, you would have defended that. It was 10 runs.
Definitely,
That's when I blame
definitely.
Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, your most experienced bowler, giving away 33 runs
And
in
and
last
another
two
thing,
games.
I think it's very good to see Chahal getting 3 wickets. I mean, he had just 1 wickets of 3 games, and he got those 3 wickets in critical situation, and India needed it,
And he made a
especially
great
after
comeback
going for
as
23 runs
well.
of 2 overs.
Yeah.
He needed to come back so strong, and he did. I think that just shows how, like, the champ of a bowler that he is, and I think these are
I
the
mean,
positives that India
no
will
question.
look to take forward. Hopefully till the World Cup. I would even fancy if Jadeja is not fit. I think the role that Deepak Huda is playing, I think if Ashwin is given that role, I think he'll do a better job as
Mm,
well. Akshay Patel or Ashwin?
that's then calling for trouble. I just go with Akshar Patel. You backed him. You back him. I want to see Akshar Patel in that game against Afghanistan. I know it's way too late now. We're already crashed out of
Yeah,
the
I think
tournament.
definitely. I think Akshay Patel will get in a game. I think Dinesh Karthik will get to play that game. I think because India are they don't have it in their hands. They have to depend on Pakistan losing both their matches, and then it will come in their hands,
Come on,
which
it's not
is
going to
very
I
happen.
mean, to be
Pakistan
very
can
yeah,
lose
honest,
which
the
is
match.
Sandipani,
very
I think
unlikely to happen.
I'll be honest, Sandipani, if I am the team logistics manager, I've already booked the tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Truly,
No, no, no.
what
But
do you,
but
I don't
but to be
expect
honest, I
Pakistan
think
to
if
lose
Afghanistan
against
wins the toss
Afghanistan
tomorrow, if the
and
ball
Sri
first,
Lanka.
yeah, I think
no, look,
yeah.
Sanjay, I really don't
Maybe
think if
one
Pakistan,
match here and maybe against
yeah,
Afghanistan, maybe against Sri Lanka, they might lose one match.
one
Both
match,
the
they might lose
matches,
one, not
and
two.
then again, Afghanistan losing both the matches. I mean,
I mean, as an Indian fan,
No,
you always like
Afghanistan
this
just
kind
has
of
to lose
fairy
one, and
tales.
I
yeah,
think they
Both
played
Afghanistan
the
well
should
as
team,
well.
lose
Yeah.
one match, but the
I
fact
mean,
that now you have to hope
yeah,
that Sri Lanka wins all three, and Pakistan, which is a team on great
No,
absolutely.
we
fine.
And
just
you
need to
have to
hope that
defeat
Pakistan loses
Afghanistan
both
by.
their games against Afghanistan and Sri
I
Lanka,
understand,
and
Sanjay, I
India
understand
wins
your
against
point. I
Afghanistan.
understand
It's
your point.
pretty simple.
Afghanistan should win one now. At the same time, Pakistan should lose two matches. At the same time, India should win the next match by a considerable amount of margin.
Yeah,
India
and
should win the
it's
match
just
by at
the
least 80 to
it's
90
just
runs.
the
Which is not
wishful
possible.
thinking. It's just the wishful thinking that
Let's
had
be
us
very honest.
support
We have crashed out.
Afghanistan
Let's
against New
come into
Zealand.
terms with that. Let's not live in a dream world. It's time to
Yeah,
open your eyes, smell the coffee because India are out of another tournament. Let's come to reality. I don't
I
want
wouldn't
to be
go
praying
so
for
far as to
Afghanistan.
call that, but I'll definitely agree with you tomorrow. If Pakistan can beat Afghanistan batting first, I think I'll be very impressed with the Pakistani team. I think if Afghanistan gets to bat second, I mean if Afghanistan wins the toss, I think we are going to have a very good game tomorrow.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely, I totally agree with you because Pakistan, I don't expect them to lose at this very point because they're a team high on confidence and they've got all the bowling attack in the world to actually go on to win this tournament as well. And they've not done anything wrong in UAE conditions. They are a team to beat. You've seen that time and time again. The kind of force they've got, the kind of bowlers they've got, the kind of variety they've got, even in the batting attack. Someone like a Nawaz coming in rightfully at the right time. Even for Pakistan, you can say the roles were pretty much defined. Especially telling Nawaz, you should go and take the bowlers on, should take the leg spinners to the shorter side. He did that to perfection. If it would not have come off, also it's totally fine because you told him this is what you should be doing. But with Indian team, you are not clear with your roles, and that's exactly how India got backfired. But as I predicted before the tournament, Sri Lankan team was a team to beat. Many people told Sri Lanka are the underdogs. I was really skeptical to even put them in the underdog tag. I believe they're going to go on to play another final of Asia Cup because if you look at that squad, you always knew they were match winners. You saw it in the series against Australia. And I'm very proud that we predicted right here. It won't be an India Pakistan final. And I'm happy that it won't be an India Pakistan final. Broadcasters, L on you, man. Uh, so just wanted to. I know it hurts for me to say this at this very point, but then it is not an India Pakistan final, guys. I told you it's going to be either Afghanistan or Sri Lanka playing the final. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Sri Lanka over Afghanistan. It's going to be Pakistan versus Sri Lanka final. Most likely Sri Lanka or Pakistan. I think
I think
Pakistan should
just
win
to
it.
consider the scenarios, I think Afghanistan are pretty much out of it. Afghanistan has to beat both Pakistan and India to make it to the finals, to have any chance of making it to the finals, especially because they have a poor net run rate as well.
Yeah.
But I think most likely it is Pakistan and Sri Lanka right now. But But yeah, just as an Indian supporter, if Pakistan loses tomorrow, it can definitely be India and Sri Lanka as well.
Bye.
I mean, I'm just
और
talking
कर लो
mathematically.
ये,
It's just
खत्म कर लो,
mathematical calculation.
छोड़ दो यार
I'm just
ये,
making this up.
मतलब मैथ्स
Yeah,
वगैरह ठीक है, बट फिर से यार ना, एवरीबॉडी बी लाइक अफगानिस्तान, कम ऑन, आई टोटली सपोर्ट यू
Yeah, I
ब्रो.
mean, yeah, definitely. You should be like Afghanistan.
it's
All
the
Indian
fact
supporters
is
should be
it's the
like
same.
Afghanistan. Come on, beat Pakistan
It's the
tomorrow.
same wishful thinking that had us having had us wishing that Scotland wins against New Zealand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Namibia,
I
I
mean,
think
Namibia
that
how
also
was.
beat
bad
them.
is it?
I mean, if you are comparing Scotland with the Afghanistan team
I
right
am
now, I
not.
think
I am
it will be a
not. I am
mistake.
not. All
And
I'm
and I,
saying
I
is,
definitely
I
think
am
that Afghanistan is going to put
comparing.
up a very very tough resistance, especially with the form
Fair
that their
enough.
batters are in.
But
Their
you realize
batters are in form. The
the
spinners are
same
in form.
resistance is something that India will face. So India has to first pass at Afghanistan test.
And
Absolutely.
on the hindsight, I feel if Afghanistan would have beaten Sri Lanka, India were still in with a good chance of making it after defeating Afghanistan. But since Sri Lanka has defeated
But I
Afghanistan
mean,
and also
I'll be
India,
honest, Sandeepani,
Sandeep,
here
tell me very
your
honestly. I leave all that. Leave all that. Do you deserve to be in the final of an Asia Cup after
yeah,
losing two games in a row? Do you
correct.
really deserve?
I mean, definitely we have the team to make it to the finals. So
And we
I
are
would
the
still feel.
team. Abhi, in last World Cup also we were like, oh, we defeated Scotland, Namibia, and Afghanistan. We were like, if we would have made it to the semi-final of the World Cup, we would have won the World Cup. ऐसा कुछ होने नहीं वाला है. We have inherent issues which needs to be
I
corrected.
think the only
See,
improvement that I
what
can
I
see
was
is
actually calculating was India would win today and Pakistan would win tomorrow. So we would have two exciting semifinals in the form of India versus Afghanistan and Pakistan versus Sri Lanka.
कुछ
But
होने
that
नहीं
is
वाला
not
है.
to be. Yeah,
हाँ.
but that is
We are out.
not to
India
be
can
right
book
now.
their ticket back to Delhi or Mumbai on
Come
Saturday.
on,
I
man.
think India will
I
lose
still feel
something
I'll
like
wait
that.
for tomorrow's game and then we'll
अभी
call
छोड़ दो
India
now.
out
You
of it.
can't even win Paytm trophy. Now Paytm has also is also not the sponsor. It's a Mastercard trophy now. Will you be able to win that? So that's the
yeah,
biggest
I think
question. Yeah.
that's a very no, that's a question that I'm going to I think that's a point that I wanted to raise. I have a feeling India are terrible starters, and that's the reason why India are losing tournaments, because in tournaments you don't get a second match or a third match as you get in a bilateral
Darren, if you
trophies.
remember, this is the first time we're getting knocked out in two consecutive tournaments in groups. Or else we go to semi-final and get knocked out. Now this is even
Yeah.
scary. Going to semi-final and getting knocked out was better. There was a pride. We reached semi-final, we reached final. Now it's scary that we are
Yeah,
getting
I mean
knocked out
you
in group
you
stage.
you always felt, but those tournaments is valuable. You had a second chance, right?
I
I
mean,
mean,
Super
I
Fours is
think
a
after
potential
the
You
semi-final. I
always
mean,
dominated. Let me be very honest with you.
no, I mean,
2016 World Cup,
super.
we were
If you're
lucky.
reaching the Super Fours, it's as good as
like
making
I
it
see, I'll be
semi-final.
honest. So look at 2016 World Cup, for example. We started terribly against
Yeah.
New Zealand,
New
and
Zealand,
then we
yeah.
made a comeback.
That
We
was
made
lucky.
we
To be very
started.
honest, we were super lucky. If not for MS Dhoni's magic, yet again, going back to that moment of magic. You needed this moment of magic over here. If you had lost to Bangladesh, we were out of the tournament. 2017 Champions Trophy, we
Correct.
lost to Sri
That is
Lanka.
my point. So
It
this
would have gone
this
either.
this this slump in sort of character, right? I won't say India is lacking the strength. I think India is starting to lack character now in these crunch
I
moments.
think India are really
Um,
choking under pressure
yes,
in
Yeah.
we are
crunch
becoming South
situations.
Let's
Africa.
use the word. Let's use the word. India are the C team now.
I think it's
India are
time we
choking.
start to look in the mirror. We are starting to choke. We are making terrible captaincy mistakes. We are not able to
We're
play,
panicking.
get
We are
boundaries.
panicking under
We are
pressure. And
giving full tosses away. We are balling those wide lengths. Bhunesh Kumar today again balled two wides. That's where his line got set
absolutely,
off.
that's where we lost the game. If it was 9 runs
He
of the
just
last
Yes,
considered
over,
two of the first two balls, and then the other four balls went for 12 runs. And I think that was the
truly,
game.
truly. If it was 9 runs or 10 runs in the last over, I bet Arshdeep would have defended it. We would have won that game by at least
I
one
think
run.
And it would have been a fairy tale story for Arshdeep as well, coming in and defending 9 runs. I
yeah,
Yes,
really
yes,
wish that
yeah,
Arshdeep was
absolutely.
able to defend seven as well. I
I
think he
His
just
was good
feel
mother,
enough
for
to defend
Arshdeep. I got a
seven.
Arshdeep's
feel for
That
mother,
run out,
Arshdeep.
I
in an
think, would
interview
have
told that
somehow.
my
You're
son was
basically
super
throwing
confident that
Arshdeep
if he
into
had
the
12
lion's
runs, he would
den.
have defended against Pakistan. He
You're
was right. She was
basically
right.
Yeah, you're basically throwing Arshdeep, that poor Arshdeep, into the lion's den. You're like, that's a 7 of 6, or you're like, okay, 7 of 6 in both the games. That's
Yeah,
how bad
true.
it was. Today's
And
game,
how
it shouldn't have been
how
7 of
deep did
6.
he take both the games? So he took the game to the last ball in both the games. And today's game also,
Yeah,
it was a dot ball there. He did not
such
even
a
connect.
such
Just a
a
ball just
champ,
went that way.
such a champ.
What a player, man! What a
And
player! I
and
bet
both the games he came under the pump, right? Pakistan, he dropped that catch, then he balled at 20th over against Sri
you
Lanka.
know.
He gave
For me, the
26
biggest
in the first
positive
two,
is
then he
that
came to
Bumrah and
ball in the
Arshdeep are going
last
to
two.
ball together. Bumrah and Arshdeep balling together is going to be deadly, and that's my only
I think
positive to look
having
into the
said
World
all
Cup.
that, we really don't want any of you to go out there and hit on the players. I mean,
Yeah,
they did not play a very good game, but that does not mean that you can go on there and be personal. You
I
can
mean,
be
we are
critical
here
about.
objective. If
Yeah,
I,
what we are doing
practically,
is we have been critical about their gameplay and nothing else. I think they did not have a very good game as a team tonight, and most of it had to do with the team selection as well.
yeah, absolutely.
So this whatever we are doing right now does not mean that you can go out there and hate on players. We are not hating on anyone. We are not hating on a specific player. We are
Yeah,
not being
absolutely.
personal about any player. We are just giving our feedback on how they performed in today's game.
I mean, also, I humbly request Chetan Sharma's selection committee, please step down. It's my humble request. You people are the worst
I think
selection committee I've ever seen in
I
my
just
life.
love the transition how Sandipan is like we're not trying to hate on players, not trying to hate on individuals, and then
I'm
Abel
telling you,
just
in a
transitions to this
respectful
one
way, I can
individual.
say, step down. You, as a selection committee, has failed to select Indian teams for three major tournaments. Even for bilateral series, you have failed. You don't even know who the captain of the team is. Step down. हाथ जोड़ के बोल रहा हूँ. Step down. घर पे बैठो. आपका खुद का highlights देखो. वही सही है. हैट्रिक वगैरह आप लिया हुआ है. आपका नाम मत बिगाड़ देना. मैं
No, 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 no. I definitely feel okay. We can at least give them a benefit of a doubt till the World Cup.
I'm
Till the
not
World
going to
Cup.
give them benefit of the doubt
I
till
think
tomorrow evening.
Sandipan, I'll agree with Abel on one thing: that fact that they ran out of benefit of doubts. Benefit
Yeah,
They
I
would
ran
mean
out
only
of benefit of
it's
doubt.
been a
I
long time
totally
since India
understand
has
just
won
once.
anything,
Are
won
you
anything
sure?
major.
I
Even for
still
test
I
format,
will
they don't
still
know which
argue
team to
this,
pick.
right? I mean,
Even for
India's
test format, they don't know
go-to,
which team to pick. They're confused. They made
yeah.
KL Rahul, who is a very terrible captain, as a vice captain of this team, ahead of Hardik Pandya, who's just an IPL winning captain. I just don't understand that they still make such blunders. They don't even know whom to select in the team. They don't know which player to give a longer rope. There's such a confused selection committee. I know they bring in a lot of youngsters. They are a very nice selection committee when it comes to trying out a lot of youngsters. I totally respect them for that. I love the change they have brought, but at the same time, step down. It's high time you step down. Respectfully move away from your job. I thought MSK Prasad selection committee was the worst, but this is you topped it, guys. Absolutely
But I
love this.
think India, with having said all that, I think the World Cup that is going to take place in India next year, I think the Indian team right now will be under lots of pressure. I mean, they have to deliver, and they have to deliver soon. I think this T20 World Cup, if they don't win, I think the entire team, the
T20
entire
World Cup,
selection
if they
committee
don't
will
win,
be.
you can expect three big retirements. One is Rohit Sharma will retire. Virat Kohli
No,
will retire.
I don't think so. I don't think Rohit Sharma is retiring
100%.
before the World Cup, before the
100%. I'm
50 over
talking
World
if you
Cup.
don't win the T20 World Cup. I'm talking about T20
No, no,
format.
no, no. I mean,
T20
if even if
format,
he does
you
not
won't
win
see
the
Virat
T20
Kohli
World
in
Cup,
T20
I don't
format
see him
after the
stepping
World
down
Cup.
right now.
You won't see Rohit Sharma in T20 format after the World Cup. And you won't also see someone like a Ravichandran Ashwin after the World Cup or Bhuvneshwar Kumar after the World Cup.
Yeah,
If you
probably
don't
we
win the
won't see somebody like a Ravichandran Ashwin after the World Cup, but I definitely
T20
feel
World
Rohit
Cup. I'm talking
Sharma is
about
going to
T20
play one
format.
more.
T20 format, you won't play. I'm telling you very honestly, Sandeep, with what Rohit Sharma has been had to handle in the last few months, if you don't win the T20 World Cup, Rohit Sharma will have to. Rohit Sharma will retire. I'm pretty sure. Virat Kohli will retire. I know it's tough facts, but these are the facts you have to come in.
No, I
You
can't
have
be
to come in
sure about Virat Kohli because even though he had a terrible game, but he has been very consistent over the last
I
one and a half
understand,
years
but then
when it
I, I also
comes
see
to the T20
I
format as
also
well.
see him unable to manage his workload. So that's one of the reasons why he took
Uh,
a long break as well.
I think that is a better reasoning than
Yeah. Then losing the
yeah.
T20 World Cup
I
definitely.
think it would be sold.
I definitely don't see Rohit Sharma going anytime soon. At least for the next 2 years, I think India has put this huge responsibility on his shoulders
Why?
to
Why would you boycott my stream if Pakistan loses? मैंने तो बोल दिया पाकिस्तान जीतेगा और इसमें क्या है?
no,
Yeah,
no.
I
I
think
am the one who is saying Pakistan will not lose, but Pakistan will face some
I think
serious
Sandipan is
threats
being a lot more
against.
hopeful.
Yeah, I
We,
mean, we can be hopeful,
yeah.
right? We can be hopeful, and we don't always have to be very critical. I mean, today's performance was a big letdown, but yeah, with the team that we have, we should have had better results in previous tournaments, and
Yeah.
and I definitely feel that we can have better results in the upcoming
Now,
tournaments as well.
जो आएगा ना बोल के India is the favorite. If India is not the favorite in Asia, I wonder if we are the favorites in the World Cup, man.
No,
I
India
I
will
mean,
totally
we
definitely.
are
understand.
the favorites,
No,
right?
I
We
mean,
will be the
I'm not
perennial
considering the
favorites.
conditions,
I
the
don't.
pitches as well.
I'm sick of listening to this tag of
I really
favorites.
hope we stop choking like this. Today, I really
Yeah.
felt India started, especially the power play, right? When Kushal Mendes and Pathum Nissanka started going, Indian team just looked listless. This
And you
did
know
not
why
look
India
like
got back into the game? It is because of the crowd. After that first wicket, the crowd
correct.
created such a hostile
Yeah,
environment.
yeah,
If
yeah.
you were listening, were you
And I
listening to
think
the game?
I think the Sri Lankan players sort of felt it.
Yeah, they felt
Charita
it.
Sri Lanka was not, and the two players who got out, the two players whom Sri Lanka were kind of worried about. Both Charita Sri Lanka and Pathum Nissanka. I mean, not Pathum Nissanka. Sorry, the
Guratilaka.
Gunatilaka,
Don't tell us.
Sandivani's favorite, have been struggling. They have been really struggling. Gunatilaka is
And
one person who doesn't.
I already said in the last game, like after his performance of
I
33
think
of 20 balls,
Gunatilaka is
after
again
having two
suffering from the
lives,
same. Gunatilaka is
yeah.
also suffering from the same mismanagement that Indian players are suffering from. But at least he's the only player that is suffering from that mismanagement. Because I don't know, I don't think Gunatilaka himself knows what role he's supposed to play. But then I think you can't blame the Sri
I
Lankan
mean,
management because they're trying to
let's
fit
appreciate
him
Sri
in
Lanka at
somewhere.
least now. Let's stop talking about Indian team at least. I'm so happy for Sri Lanka, the nation. They've gone through a lot in the last few
Yeah.
months. I absolutely love the way they've come. When it comes to Asia Cup, let me tell you something, right? When it comes to such tournament, I know India I won more number of Asia Cups, but still, Sri Lanka totally believed. I don't know if it's with the legacy of a team, or often you've seen it in Champions League. We often
And I
seen them
think
in multiple
we
competitions.
have
When
been
a
having
team
a new sort of a renewed energy from the Sri Lankan team
True,
right
true.
after that win
I
against
totally agree
Bangladesh.
with you. And with Chris Silverwood taking over Sri Lanka, I totally think he has brought in that England's energy to play
And it's a
fearless kind of
redemption for
cricket.
Chris Silverwood as well, right? He was
Yeah,
shunned out of that England team. He was told he couldn't do his job, and then he's
yeah,
come here and he just changed the Sri Lankan team. So it's a slap on the England player, England selectors as well. The fact that
yeah, truly.
England
But
selectors thought that
Chris Silverwood had to make a way.
England tried to scapegoat Chris Silverwood, saying that you did not have, you did not do well, you did not do justice to our players, and he's shown that if you give him the players, he can be a good coach.
I mean, also with Chris Silverwood, another thing is he was in Test. Maybe he's still a questionable coach, but in one day format, he alongside with Owen Morgan has got England so many victories as well. So it's not really good to blame Chris Silverwood for a wrong format. Now that England is having two coaches for two different formats, you are seeing England team struggling very badly, and it's something which you need to also come in terms with. People, I was joking with you, bro. Yeah, it's okay. It's totally cool. I'm totally fine. Meanwhile, I'll just be back into the stream in a minute. You guys continue.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think he crashed out of
Talking
the
about Sri
stream like
Lankan cricket,
India's
I
crashed
think,
out of the Asia Cup.
yeah, yeah. I think, yeah, but talking about Sri Lanka's performance, I think the captain led from the front. Talking about Dashun Sanaka, we had him in our fantasy picks. He was a very left field choice because he was not bowling prior to this game in the Asia Cup, and he had very few opportunities to come good because he was coming in late while batting as well. But we had him in our fantasy picks because he had a brilliant record against India. He averaged somewhere close to 25, 26 with the bat against India, but with the ball he had a bowling average of just 16 against India before this game, and
Yeah.
coming in picking up Surya Kumar Yadav at that crucial stage, and also Hardik Pandya when he was just starting to get going. I think that was one of the key factors in India not getting that momentum that they needed to finish the game well.
Hmm.
And definitely with the bat, what a finish! I mean, he was a bit lucky. There was a half chance early on in his innings in the first ball itself, but after that, I think yeah, but Sri Lanka has also been a bit lucky. I think there have been a lot of
Yeah,
top
yeah.
edges which have landed safely, but that has been the template for this Sri Lankan team in the last three games as well. They have
I
managed
think
to chase down 180, 182, 175, 174 now, and all these chases have come in at crucial and all of these were sort of knockout games for them. If they would have lost either of the three, I mean, they wouldn't have been such a favorite now. I mean, they are now one of the favorites to go into the finals. I think they are almost into the finals. The only way they can be ousted is if Afghanistan wins both their games against Pakistan and India, which is again very improbable. So I think Sri Lanka have made it to the finals. So it's a huge achievement for them with for a team who was struggling to sort of make it to the super force after that loss against Afghanistan. And I think
yeah.
that just goes to show the belief that they have shown. Kushal Mendes coming in with that approach, and I have never seen Pathum Nisanka bat like this before the Asia Cup. He was very conservative early on in his innings, and I think he has come in and played a lot freely. And some of the straight batters shots that he played over long off, over mid off, and mid on during the power play, I think those were just beautiful to watch. And I think
Absolutely.
that just set the momentum.
I thought Kushal Mendes has redeemed himself. I still think he's finally come to identify his potential. That's a potential he's got to take away,
Yeah,
tear
and
away
I
a
think I
spinner
was
like
very
that.
vocal about the fact to bring back Kushal Mendes and Dinesh Chandimal. I am sure if Dinesh Chandimal would have got a go in place of somebody like a Gunatilaka, he would have made
Not
that
even
case
over
his own.
Sarth Asalanka, you guys see, he'll always bring Gunatilaka. I don't know what is that inherent hate which he's got against Gunatilaka. But
No, no,
I'm gonna be
I
rooting
don't
for
have
the
any hate
young
against
I
Gunatilaka
have
Gunatilaka.
a feeling Charit Asalanka has a good innings in him somewhere. I feel
Yeah, because
Gunatilaka is more
to be
lost
honest,
than.
Asalanka, this was his fourth failure, like on a trot. On the trot, he has had scores of 0, 1, 8, and another duck. So two ducks and only 9 runs in 4 innings. So he's clearly struggling. But this is the same Asalanka that got Sri Lanka, like that was one of the highest run scorers in the 2021 World Cup for Sri Lanka, and got played
Well,
some of the best innings that a Sri Lankan batsman has played in a T20 World Cup
yeah,
in
absolutely,
the last year itself.
absolutely.
And since
Anyway,
then too, he has had performances. But I cannot say the same for Gunatilaka, at least in the T20 format. That is why I'll
I
go for
also feel,
Gunatilaka, and
Sanjivani, I
he's a
think,
number four batter.
yeah,
I mean, Dinesh Chandimal coming into the team will bat at number four, not at number three. So I definitely feel
yeah,
that
yeah.
Asalanka keeps his place and Gunatilaka has to make way. But I don't see that happening anytime soon
yeah.
as well. But
Yeah, I think you'll agree with me, Sandipani, here that Gunatilka isn't a middle order batsman. He's more of an opener. So if he's in the
I've
opening,
already
he'll
said
get,
it that if you're not making
yeah.
Gunatilaka bat, I think it was one of the best decisions to have Kushal Mendes opening, because all his half centuries, all eight of his half centuries has come when he's opening the innings for Sri Lanka.
Mm,
And
mm,
Gunatilaka was not really performing, not doing anything with the bat opening the innings. And you're
yeah.
pushing him down the order at number four, where he's
And
more
also,
clueless
let me
about
tell
what
you
he has
that
to do.
if Sri Lanka can find an enforcer or a player in form at number four, makes the Sri Lankan team even more potent against a team
And
like
I think you
Pakistan.
should look for experience
Yeah.
at this stage of the like when World Cup is so near,
But
and they
also,
are
I like the
performing well.
fact that they're backing the players. They're not making a lot of changes in the 11 like what India did. They stuck in with the 11 from the first game, and finally they played dividends as well. So that's what you also need to take a leaf out of Sri Lankan team. They trusted their players. They gave them a long rope. They knew that if they're going to make any changes in the combination, it could be catastrophic, and which could lead them to be ousted out of the tournament. And they were on the verge of being ousted out of the tournament. Let's remember that this Sri Lankan team would not
Not
even have made
once
it this
but
far
twice.
twice. And even today, I mean, anything could have happened today.
Yeah.
They're really fighting it out. There's a fairy tale which is brewing. I really feel that there's a fairy tale of a finish for Sri Lankan cricket.
I really
Oh,
hope
And I
so.
think
That
toss has gone
also,
their way in all the three games. So I think Dashun Shanaka is doing a wonderful job both on the field and off the field as well, with the toss as well.
I
He
mean,
has
if you
been
guys
winning tosses
remember,
for them.
the Sri Lankan team's belief and this team was created back in 2021, where India toured Sri Lanka. Rahul Dravid was the coach. Indian team was COVID affected, where they defeated us in that T20I series. From there on, there was this rejuvenated Sri Lankan setup which you could see. They took the field as a unit. You could see players like Tikshana Hasaranga coming together, and I still think Hasaranga has still not come into the party. And expect him to come in, when it matters the most. I'm totally backing the Sri Lankan team to go on to really do well. I would love it if they go on to win this title. And for Pakistan, they have their own reason. Pakistan, my prayers and thoughts to all Pakistan people who are suffering from floods. At the same time, my prayers and thoughts to Sri Lanka as a country as well. It'll be beautiful for both the countries. I totally agree. And not like Bangalore
And
and
my
Barish or
prayers and
anywhere.
thoughts are with the Indian team as well. So Afghanistan come in tomorrow and win the game for your team and for India as well. I mean that
Yeah,
will keep both India and Afghanistan in the hunt.
my bus.
I
My
think
prayer.
Afghanistan is
I've
slowly
had enough
turning
of
into
prayer.
a. I think Afghanistan is slowly turning into a
See,
team
no, the
B for
last time
India.
in the World Cup, the
Every time
situation was
India
that
wants to
Afghanistan, if
qualify.
they would have won it for Team India. But tomorrow, if they win it, they will win it for themselves, because they are in with a chance as well. If Afghanistan manages to beat Pakistan tomorrow, and who knows, they can go in to beat India next. So it will be 2 out of 3 wins for
I'll
two
now
of
watch.
them.
I mean, if we make it to the Asia Cup final from here on, I'll shave my head.
Oh, oh, there we go. Declaration. I think there was a declaration that
Afghanistan,
was supposed
please
to
win
happen.
tomorrow.
I
I'll
think
shave my
before.
head. I'm making a public statement right now. If India makes it to the final of Asia Cup, I'll shave my head.
No, now just keeping the biases aside, I think tomorrow we will get a good. I think we'll do tomorrow's preview also, right? Tonight as
Yeah,
well. Tonight
We
itself,
I
yeah.
should
mean,
be, yeah.
we
Yeah.
are way too late into the night right now, and I think we are going live in another 1 hour. I'll be coming live for football stream as well because Champions League is on, guys. I know Champions
Okay,
League.
let's get it done with like in a
Yeah.
brief period of
Let's talk.
time. The
Let's talk.
Afghanistan
Let's
versus
talk.
Pakistan.
Let's talk. Pakistan. I mean, Pakistan should win. I mean, I'm totally saying I want to save my hair. So,
I think
guys,
you're going to get a lot of hate from the Indian fans.
I don't, guys. Let's be very practical. Pakistan on a very high. It's not like I don't want India to qualify, but then India doesn't deserve to qualify as well.
But this
Let's be
Indian team
honest.
beat Pakistan in the group stage. So yeah, I mean, if
Does the
India
Indian
is
team
struggling, so
also
can
does the
There was
Indian
an
Pakistan.
team
Indian
also
team with
lost to
Jadeja in
Pakistan and
it.
lost to
So.
Sri Lanka now? So I don't know,
It was
man.
the Indian team winning the toss, Jaren. It was the Indian team that won the toss.
Come
I'll say
on,
if
guys. You
Afghanistan
can't
wins
win
toss
tournaments by
tomorrow,
winning tosses always. And let me be very honest with you. If India had to win this Asia Cup, this was the biggest test. Now in a World Cup like this, if India are going to lose first two games, I know in Australia the conditions are different, but
yeah,
still,
it's going to be very different.
batting second is
And
the
I
most
think the
preferred option
Pakistan team
anywhere
is
in the
going to
world.
struggle. I think this Pakistan team is going to
Yeah,
struggle in
I mean,
Australia.
in Australia, it's going to be a different ball game altogether. The World Cup is going to be a different ball game. It's not UAE anymore, and thankfully, it's not UAE anymore. I think India's record in UAE is just bad. India should not even play any more tournaments in UAE because if you look, two major
I mean, not
tournaments.
just India's. I mean, whoever has batted first has had a terrible outcome in UAE in general over the last 2.5 years. Be it the IPL, be it the T20 World Cup, now the Asia Cup. I
I think
definitely think that.
at this point, in my opinion, Pakistan are the favorites to win the Asia Cup, given their squad balance and everything. Second favorites will be definitely Sri Lanka, considering uh,
I mean, they
you
are
know
the two prime contenders who are looking very likely to make it to the finals. I think any team apart from Pakistan and Sri Lanka making it to the finals will be a huge surprise, and you have to have at least one or two upsets in order to see that happen. So
it's
let's see.
it's
Yeah,
going to
I
be
think
upset.
Pakistan will have to just lose the plot to
Yeah,
allow any other
absolutely,
team.
absolutely. Pakistan will have to lose the plot, and I don't think they will
I don't
really
think they will.
do the
They look a
do
very
the-
strong team. They look like
Yeah.
a team which is a world beater right now, and that
I don't know what's going to
Pakistan
happen
is
in the
scary.
final, but they will make it to the final for sure at this very point because of the squad balance what they've got. But at some stage, Pakistan will win. Sandeepani Moose Nikalo Sandeepani. Moose Acha Nikalo Sandeepani. I think she's supporting Pakistan. She's pretty pissed at you for the reason that you've been not supporting them. But
No, it's not that I'm not supporting them. Obviously, I'll support India, but keeping
I think
biases aside,
Sandhivani
I
just
think
wants to see a bit
Pakistan
of
are the
chaos.
favorites. Yeah, definitely. I think like India, when India were playing Sri Lanka were the favorites heading into the game. Similarly, Pakistan are the favorites heading into the game. We had an upset today. We might as well have an upset tomorrow. May not have an upset tomorrow. Pakistan may easily go on to defeat Afghanistan like they defeated Hong Kong. We never know because Pakistan, I think they have a very strong sort of a balanced team balance. Like Abel rightly pointed out, they have actually three spinning all rounders,
yeah.
and they have the
Yeah.
pace. The youngsters in the form of
Mm,
Dahani, Mohammad Hasnain, and also Nasim Shah. Along with
absolutely.
Harris Roth, I think Harris Roth has been bowling at 150, 152 kilometers per
Yeah,
hour
yeah.
and nailing those Yorkers. So I
Mm.
And he
think it
can
is going to
bat
be a
too.
very,
I mean,
yeah,
it's
I
going to be
think it is
interesting
going
to
to
see
be a
how they go
very
about it.
very
Yeah.
very challenging task for Afghanistan tomorrow. But having
Mm,
said that, Afghanistan too has had a sort of a very good team combination heading into this Asia Cup. They had a wonderful first game, defeating absolutely trouncing Sri Lanka. They
mm,
had a good enough second game as well, defeating Bangladesh. They did not have
mm,
the best of games in the last one, but you have to say that they started off really well. They were 120 for 2 at the end of 15 overs. They did not manage to finish well, and then Pakistan, Sri Lanka really took the advantage towards the end because they crumbled under pressure. I think Sri Lanka were pushed to the edge in the game against Afghanistan. It was a last over thriller, another last over thriller, and they just won with one or two balls remaining. And with whatever sort of head-to-head matchup battles that we have seen Afghanistan and Pakistan come up against each other, we have seen very close contests. And I think in the
Yeah.
2021 T20 World Cup as well, when they met for the last time, I think Pakistan were really pushed to the limits. I think it was that Asif Ali brilliant cameo to hit Karim Jannat for four sixes in that
mm.
last
I
over
mean,
or second last over
I mean,
for them.
I also love the fact that Pakistan have defined roles. Many people will criticize them from the outside, but Asif Ali is their designated finisher. You have Iftikhar, who's going to be the
There is
floater.
clarity.
Nawaz
I mean, there is
also going
clarity
to
in their roles, which I can't say for the
absolutely.
Indian team
And
right
they
now.
train in such a way, no? Now, and also Asif Ali's strike rate has been brilliant. So I totally back Pakistan to win the Asia Cup, take the Asia Cup home from here on. I'm
I mean,
not.
with India gone, they are now the sole favorites heading into
Yeah,
tomorrow's encounter as well. But we may as well expect an upset somewhere.
yeah, somewhere there's unreasoned law. Abel is very straightforward. Thank you for that. And Abel, we need to answer. Are you single? Okay, guys, talking about
Oh
that.
yeah, that reminds us.
Yes,
So
talking
today,
about that. Talking about that, guys. We are going to see Sandeepani take on questions. You can ask Sandeepani any questions. It is
I
called
mean,
Chai Pani Time with Sandeepani. You can because Sandeepani we had a task which Sandeepani failed. I was pretty
I think
confident.
obviously not today.
Sandeep,
Obviously not tonight because obviously because of India's result. I mean,
I love how
definitely
Sandeep is
we'll have
playing
a
the
session.
night watchman. He's trying to get the play transferred to tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean,
Guys,
I think
definitely.
we can have three questions, right? Sandeepani, come
yeah,
on.
three questions. Three questions.
No, no. With
Three
with
All three
questions.
Afghanistan
questions.
winning tomorrow, I think I'll definitely come in with a better mindset.
No, no,
Right
no.
now,
The three questions actually come
I'm
from the
If
really
comments.
Afghanistan harega, then India will be out. Then you will say that India are out. Day after tomorrow, you'll be like India
no.
lost to
Then I'll come.
Afghanistan.
Then I'll come day after tomorrow and do it. I mean, you can't
Yeah,
just.
day after tomorrow, you'll be like India lost to Afghanistan.
India are not
No,
going to lose against Afghanistan. Come on, Evel. You're just going too far out there.
Why not?
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll definitely have that.
here's me being the devil's advocate, right? India's lost two matches back to back, one against Pakistan. We clearly saw signs of stress after the loss against Pakistan today. Now they've lost another one. They've crashed out of this tournament.
They
Indian fans
haven't
are not
crashed
going to
out
be
yet.
kind.
Yeah, they
Indian
have
fans are not
almost
going to be
crashed out.
kind. Indian fans are not going to be kind. They're going to come against Afghanistan with a lot of pressure. Afghanistan are going to come against India with no problems at all. You mentioned how Pakistan has been challenged by Afghanistan. India's been challenged by Afghanistan as well. So what is to say that Afghanistan, with having nothing to lose attitude, just sweep India over?
That's a
We need
obviously,
the
possibility
man.
as
devil's
well.
advocate here.
So
And
I think tomorrow's game is going
India
to
are
be
going to
very
be
interesting. Yeah.
India are going to be devastated after this loss. It's going to be very tough for India to actually recover and come back hard as well. So it's not going to be easy.
No,
Talking
but
about
again, I
that,
think after the two
I was slightly
T20,
distracted because Champions League is going
Everybody
on as well.
tried to.
I think after the two games against Pakistan and New Zealand, the T20 World Cup, India were really like they really trounced Afghanistan, Scotland, and the other team. Who did they play? I think Namibia. So they really thrashed the other three teams. So I definitely think that if Pakistan managed to win tomorrow, then the game against India and Afghanistan will be pointless because Pakistan and Sri Lanka would have qualified. But if Afghanistan wins tomorrow, the competition will still be open both for India and Afghanistan. I'm not just saying for India. I mean, if Afghanistan wins tomorrow, they can even win against India and probably make their stake their claim to the finals as well. So it can happen. So I mean, tomorrow if Pakistan wins, then the other two games become pointless because both Sri Lanka and Pakistan will have two wins. They'll face each other. India and Afghanistan both will be knocked out, and they'll face each other. So just for the sake of the competition as well, I hope that Afghanistan wins tomorrow so that we
And
can
also
have.
for Afghanistan, the only disadvantage is that if they win tomorrow, day after tomorrow they'll be playing a game again. So two back-to-back days they'll be playing two consecutive games. So that's not
Yeah.
going to be easy for them in this Dubai heat and everything. So they're going to be up against an Indian team. That's
And
why
I
India will
really
have
don't think Pakistan has what it. I mean, sorry, Afghanistan has what it takes to win against Pakistan because tomorrow Afghanistan is going to face its most difficult test against fast bowlers of Afghanistan. I mean Pakistan, beg your pardon. So I think Afghanistan batters they've been facing good spinners and mediocre fast
But
bowling.
let's not forget the matchup, right? Rashid Khan versus Babar Azam five times. Rashid Khan versus Rizwan as well. So the matchups are definitely there. So it's not going to be easy. Mujibur Rahman is back. He's also in good form. That's why India should be even more scared of
So is
Afghanistan
Fazlullah
than Sri
Faruqi.
Lanka. Yeah, and India should be more scared of Afghanistan than Sri Lanka because I thought Afghanistan was going to be a tougher opposition than Sri
I think
Lanka.
right now Pakistan should be scared of Afghanistan, and then India can be scared of Afghanistan after tomorrow's game. But
I
still,
mean,
I mean, is it just me who is supporting Team India? I mean, both of you are just going.
I think
Whoa,
you guys
we
are
are being
being
realistic.
we're being realistic, Santipani, because
Yeah.
I don't want to
No,
have
I
any
mean
more faith,
realistically
right?
as well. I think Afghanistan will put up a tough competition. Even if
I mean, of
They
Pakistan
course
wins.
they
will.
will. If they win, it's
I
good. But then
mean,
you expect Pakistan to lose two back-to-back games, then India to defeat Afghanistan in such a way that they completely turn the tables around. There are a lot of ifs and buts to happen for India to even make it to the final, and that's where
Definitely,
I
I
that
want
that
to
is
think
what
ask
you
you.
get if
you
you
are
lose
a
two games on the
Let me
trot.
tell you, I'm an
you
RCB
are
fan, right? I'm an
you
RCB
are a
fan.
data
I've been in
scientist.
this
You
situation
know about
multiple times.
probabilities better than anyone else.
Yes,
You know
I,
Yeah, so
how.
I made it very clear that Afghanistan have to beat Pakistan, India have to beat Afghanistan, and Sri Lanka have to beat Pakistan for India and Sri Lanka to make it.
let me make it
Afghanistan
very
have to
clear,
beat Pakistan,
Sanjivani. Like,
Afghanistan
I
have
also
to beat
want to tell,
India, and
if
Sri Lanka have
India
to
are
beat
the world
Pakistan
number
for
one T20I
Afghanistan.
team, do you really want to be in such a scenario? If India are the world number one T20I team, do you want ifs and buts happening with you? Isn't there a bigger shame
No,
than this?
but that is what you have to deal with once you lose two consecutive games against Pakistan and Sri Lanka. I think this one is going to hurt them because on papers this is a big upset, especially
I'm,
with the
I'm
condition that Sri
afraid
Lanka are
I'm
in right now.
afraid this
Yeah.
Asia Cup loss might really affect India in a very negative manner leading into that World Cup.
Yeah.
Because that's going to really
So
derail all the
I think
plans.
no, I don't think it is going to really do anything. Like yeah, they'll really be very disappointed to lose this game like this. But once again, knowing the team, I definitely feel that they are not going to consider too much white noise. I mean, they are going to keep a sort of a shield
We
around them and
understand.
not.
The thing was last time around, Sandeep, I expected 2021 World Cup defeat to be the worst, but then I think this is as close to it as 2021 World Cup defeat because you
I
lost
think
in a
UAE
pool
has not
position
been the
where you
best of
were.
hunting grounds for India.
But then,
Let's just
Abel,
put
I
it
think
that
this
way.
is
Yeah.
probably
Let's
worse,
let's
right?
take the
You
ground out of
expect
equation. As Ravi Shastri says, no, pitch gaya baan mein. Let's talk about your cricketing, cricketing
Yeah.
gameplay at large. Were you good enough in both the tournaments? No. And at this point, this is the same team
But
which
I
has to
think,
play the World Cup.
yeah, as you said that they were definitely not good enough in both the tournaments. But the 4 games that India lost in UAE in the T20 World Cup and in this Asia Cup have all been batting first.
Yeah. But there's an interesting stat for all the Indian fans. Whenever India has won Asia Cup and gone to the World Cup, India has never won the World Cup. So,
Probably, yeah. This time.
uh, so if stars are aligning, let's look at the bigger picture, guys. Asia चाहिए क्या world? World dominator बनना है या तो partial world dominator बनना है? आपके बारी है. आप decide कर लो.
But I would rather have India go
You
into
know,
the
you
finals
know
and
what I
lose
mean?
rather than losing this way.
Yeah, absolutely. पार्शियल वर्ल्ड डोमिनेटर किसी को भी नहीं बनना है, ठीक है? वर्ल्ड डोमिनेटर बनना है तो वर्ल्ड कप जीतना चाहिए। इसके लिए इंडिया को वर्ल्ड कप ही जीतना पड़ेगा। पार्शियल वर्ल्ड डोमिनेटर बहुत होता है। सब हर जगह पार्शियल वर्ल्ड डोमिनेटर्स होता है। आई नो आई एम गेटिंग कैरिड अवे
और
जस्ट
मेरे
लेट
को
मी
ये भी लगता है आई डेफिनेटली फील द पिचेस इन ऑस्ट्रेलिया रियली गोइंग टू इट इज गोइंग टू बी अ डिफरेंट स्टोरी ऑल टुगेदर आई मीन ऑस्ट्रेलिया
But
विल
then
बी द फेवरेट्स
you are going to go to those pitches with Australia coming to you, coming against you, South
एंड
Africa coming
ऑस्ट्रेलिया
against
yeah
you.
but
आर स्कैरी।
they'll get enough match practice
Australia
against them
are
I mean
super
3 games
scary. Let me tell you, I was watching that one day game which they're playing against New Zealand today.
Correct.
They are
What a
scary.
win. I
I
mean,
think
someone like Cameron Green, Alex Carey, when the
and
whole
they
of the
still had
seniors
somebody
just,
like a Maxwell coming in at number 8. Maxwell is batting at number 8
I
for
mean,
this
you look at
Australian
the
team.
team today. Today was a match they should have lost when all the seniors failed. Trent Bolt going guns. And then Alex Carey and Cameron Green just coming up and
And I
stealing the
think
game
Matt
away from
Henry
them.
is a very underrated bowler when it comes to New Zealand. I think Matt Henry has performed for New Zealand in various has performed for New Zealand in various occasions. And I think he has done a very good job for them even in the 2019 World Cup. He was brilliant, and in whatever opportunities that he has got. I think, but with Tim Saudi and Loki Ferguson in the mix, I think he really gets an opportunity. And it was very good to see him pick up those 2 early wickets. And I think Australia were really in all sorts of trouble with 5 down for some 50-55 runs, and New Zealand should have definitely closed it rather than giving the ball to their fourth and fifth bowling options. They could have really gone ahead with Trent Bolt bowling, like completing his spell of 10 overs right at that point. They shouldn't have taken the game to the 50 overs, because it was clear that if Australia manages to play 50 overs, they are definitely going to chase down 230. That is a given with the current batting depth that Australian team has. Maxwell was slotted in to come in at number 8. Then they had somebody like a Mitchell Stark coming in at number 9, and we all know that Mitchell Stark is a good enough batter on his given day as well. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
definitely I think it was a game
exactly the
that New
point
Zealand,
made.
yeah,
Look, this is not the sternest test India is going to face. And India should have won against this Sri Lankan team. I mean,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, the Sri Lankan team, you cannot take it away from them. Their captain was amazing. Whatever we spoke negatively about India, with the positive that Sri Lanka showed today, right? They
Absolutely. I
showed
mean, Sri
mettle.
Lanka were
They showed great
outstanding.
captaincy. I think the only thing that probably Darshan Chanaka did wrong today was not giving Mahesh Dikshana one more over. Rather bringing, I think I don't know who
it's a
they
power
brought.
play. Yeah.
I think India kind of had a jailbreak there. But aside from that, Sri Lanka just were perfect today, near perfect today. But
And
Absolutely.
India's going to
I
face a
really
lot
loved
more
how
sternest
Rohit
test.
Sharma realizing that Asita Fernando playing his third game will be under pressure, and he just did not let the bowler settle down. He came in the fourth over, considered 14 runs. He came in the middle overs to sort of get 1 or 2 overs down the line, and he went for 14-15 runs as well. So I think I really like that mindset, even though they were 2 down, and they were not really looking to attack the other bowlers. But when a youngster like Asita Fernando stepped in, Rohit Sharma really went after him. So
Yeah.
I think that is the right
I
way
love
to go
the
about it.
pull shot that he played. When he stepped
Yeah,
out, I think a bouncer was balled at him,
yeah.
and he still just went ahead with it. There was just pure
And also the
class.
I
And
mean, I
only
love
shot
shot.
that he managed to hit for a six.
yesterday I told you guys, right? One player who can possibly turn the game around is also Rajapaksa. Rajapaksa was excellent today. Is not releasing the pressure, coming in and hitting those 2 sixes over a square leg. That was just brilliant. And that's what really brought Sri Lanka back into the game. And you have to give credit. He's a very good player of spin, and he just took the game away from India yet again. You've seen that. I've seen that personally. Being an RCB fan, he came in and took his own Hasaranga rather, away. And I really hope this team goes on to do well, because I'm a huge fan of Hasaranga. I really want him to do well. The Sri Lankan team has got much more potential in which they can reach. They still do not have their main bowler in Chamira. So remember that they played without Chamira. Chamira has a crazy matchup against Rohit Sharma, and he did not play in this game as
Yeah.
well.
I think he
So
has dismissed Rohit Sharma six times in T20s at
Yeah,
an average of less than six. So
yeah.
it's a huge stat.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there's no doubt, this Indian team will take a lot of, they will be ashamed into a tad bit. They'll be
I
disappointed.
mean, it was
And
just one of those games. I mean, even in the 2017 Champions Trophy, we saw Sri Lanka come in out of nowhere and
yeah,
beat this a very strong Indian team, a team which went on to play the finals. And I think it was Kushal Mendis that scored a
and we lost
century
the
along
finals.
with, yeah,
And we lost the finals.
to Pakistan,
To
which is
Pakistan.
not going to happen this time around because
And
either
there also
India or
India won the
Pakistan
fourth
can make
wicket
the
Because
against
final.
because
Pakistan.
India's avoided that by not coming into the finals.
Finals. अभी finals में हारना ही नहीं है. हम हारेंगे group stage में. Because
Yeah,
people were
like
like,
if you
finals
wanna
में
lose,
आके हार रहे हैं.
yeah,
And
if
now
you
people
wanna
are like,
lose, lose in the group stage, I suppose,
yeah.
right?
Now be more legendary. Proper chokers we have become. Where the C word is.
we
I don't
are
want to
we
call
are
this to Team India. I really don't want to tell this time and time again, but it's unfortunate that Team India are getting outside of the tournament time and time again. It's a concerning factor for Team India. Now there is no more Paytm Trophy, despite as well. You can't
Yeah,
be like,
okay,
I'll
okay.
lose
Let's
Paytm
talk about
Trophy. And
the Pakistan Afghanistan game again, since
I
we
I
are
mean,
think
going.
Pakistan
one thing
Afghanistan
that
game,
is
if
great.
I have to cover it slightly,
Yeah,
I think both the teams are going to go in with the same 11. I don't see them make a change
yeah, yeah.
unless if there is a slight bit of injury and they want to bring someone like a Hassan
No,
Ali into
I
the
think if
team.
Dahani is fit enough, I think Dahani will come in place of Mohammad
I think
Hasnain.
Dahani is ruled out of the tournament, almost ruled out of the tournament, and with the World Cup within 1 month, they won't risk him. And
Yeah, okay,
Hasnain has
okay,
done nothing wrong. Hasnain was beautiful, and they would want to
okay.
attack Afghanistan with pace as well. So that's where I believe, someone like a
And
Hasnain.
I really think this Pakistan management has lost hope with Hassan Ali. So
Yeah,
I mean,
I think which in the hindsight is a good thing. They are giving the youngsters a game time, some game time at least, and definitely they are capitalizing. I mean, Nasim Shah, Sahnawaz Dahani, Mohammad Hasnain, all of them
mm,
have been coming in, bowling at good pace, bowling the good line and lengths, and they have been troubling the batsmen.
absolutely.
For me, tomorrow the interesting thing will be to see how Afghanistan actually goes on to tackle the spinners, because I think fast bowlers they'll somehow manage to score off them. I mean
I mean,
they won't have.
I feel it's the other way around. I mean, at least for me, I mean, I would love to see how they handle that opening
Yeah,
burst of Naseem
it's
Shah
not gonna
and
be easy. It's definitely
Mohammad
not
Hasnain.
gonna be easy because
Yeah, I mean that is going to be a good matchup as well. But
And
I
I
definitely
mean,
think that
that was my point from earlier as well, right? This is the most difficult fast bowling lineup they'll face. Bangladesh and Sri Lanka does not challenge Afghanistan by using pace, right? And that's probably
yeah.
the reason why their
And
openers
guys,
got
you
that
know
kind of
what?
start.
That's where I also felt Umran Malik should have been a tearaway pacer. He should have been a trump card to throw against weaker opposition. Why I don't know why they did not give Umran Malik that
It could have
long
been
throw.
anyone. Even I don't know why Prasidh Krishna is missing out. What has he
Yeah,
done
Prasidh
wrong?
Krishna also could have been a tearaway
On this
fast bowler.
Dubai track, for example, I mean, on this Dubai track where you've seen for today, right? Today, Sri Lankan bowlers off the hard length were able to ball very well. Even someone like Dasun Shanaka at 124 at a hard length was able to trouble Indian batsmen. So
Absolutely.
why didn't
I
someone
totally
like a
agree
Prasidh
with you
Krishna
on
would
that.
have been an excellent player today?
I totally agree with you, Jen. However,
But I think
let's make it
the
very
thing with
clear that
Prasidh Krishna is when they are playing 4 overs. I think like just getting 4 overs. I think Prasidh Krishna in the past has been a bit sort of a bit inconsistent
But he
with
could
his.
have been
no, no,
your
no.
fourth bowler,
I
right? He could
totally
have been
agree
your
with you
fourth
both.
bowler.
However, let's make it very clear. Umran Malik and also Prasidh Krishna are these X factor trump cards for India, right? Especially against weaker oppositions. For example, a team like Hong Kong. You made Hong Kong have a game out of it. A team which got all for 38 against Pakistan, you made them come very close. I'm not saying they're a bad team. They had a very good team, and you give that appreciation to Hong Kong for making game out of it. But if you had Umran Malik who's going to run in and ball 150 against a batter like Shanaka, a batter like Kushal Mendes, he's going to struggle. Kushal Mendes is weak against short ball. Nisanka is weak against short ball. That's where Umran Malik is going to come in. And in these decks, where it is going to aid pacers a tad bit, I trust me not. Prasidh Krishna and Umran Malik would have come in handy. They should have been your third seamer for the tournament. Indian selectors already made a big blunder by dropping them. You also had them through the course of this journey to the Asia Cup and the World Cup. You were having them as part of your setup. All of a sudden, you drop them. No idea why, and now you're struggling there.
And you did not bring in a fourth pacer. India's missing a fourth pacer here very badly. You expected Avish Khan and Ashdeep to do everything right, which doesn't happen in a multi tournament. I mean, a multi nation tournament. Avish Khan is playing his first ever multi nation tournament, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
so is
absolutely.
Arshdeep Singh.
Yeah, And you know what? You expecting both these players to play well. You needed to have a backup fourth seamer. I don't know why, especially
Yeah.
because we knew that when before Jadeja, at least we knew India's go-to formula was three seamers and two
Yeah.
spinners. And you have more spinners and pacers in the squad.
And in T20 format, you need to go in with three seamers because
Yeah.
ultimately you're going to have these
Unless,
kind of moves.
yeah, I mean, unless the pitch is just completely brazen and it's turning square 45
Yeah,
degrees,
truly, truly.
even then you will have someone like a fast bowler who can ball
Let's
cutters.
Chennai Super Kings, who are known to play spinners, they also go in with three seamers every year because they
Yeah.
know on days like this you need to have a third seamer. It'll be Shardul Thakur, Dwayne Bravo, Lungi Ngidi, or whoever comes in. That was their usual combination. Before it was Josh Hazlewood, Dwayne Bravo, and Shardul Thakur, or Deepak Chahar, Shardul Thakur, and Dwayne Bravo. And they usually had four seamers at times. So not even kidding. So if Hardik
Yeah, if
Pandya
you
was a
add
fourth
Dwayne
seamer,
Pretorius to the mix or something like that, yeah, correct.
you always need three proper seamers, one spinner, one all-rounder. That's how you should go in a T20 format. This is a template. I know it's a template which we talk often about, but this is a template which will give teams victory. Let's talk about one of the greatest Mumbai Indians. They always had Mitchell McClenaghan, Malinga, and Bumrah. It was never Mitchell McClenaghan, Bumrah, and a couple of spinners. It never works. It never works in T20 cricket because you always need a third seamer who can cover up for you. Because there are going to be days like this where Hardik Pandya is going to have an off day. There are going to be days like this where your main seamer is going to go for runs like Bhuvneshwar Kumar. You need a seamer to back you up. And I thought Umran Malik should have been that X factor bowler, especially in a tournament like this. You groomed him, you bought him, you put him straight into the mix because you wanted to see how you react. And if this was a World Cup preparation, you wanted to see, you should have tried him out because it could have been better to try him out against teams like Sri Lanka, Hong Kong, Afghanistan, rather than trying him out straight in the World Cup against South Africa or against New Zealand, whoever it is against. And I'm really scared for the World Cup at this point because South Africa are a well-oiled machine. And you saw
Yeah.
they troubled India in India. I know it's against India's B team, but then they're a serious team to contend with, isn't it?
But having said that, I think today the spinners were the ones who actually got the wickets. I mean, 8 overs, 66 runs, 4 wickets. I think India
Yes.
really lacked a fifth or a sixth bowling or a sixth, actually a sixth bowling option. They need to have somebody at least. I mean, even if not a fast bowler, they could have even had somebody like Akshar Patel coming in, rolled his arms
Yeah,
for 2 overs,
I totally
and
agree.
been very economical.
Absolutely, absolutely. But then you still wanted to have an X factor bowler. Hardik Pandya cannot be your third reliant seamer. You need to have
Yeah,
a
definitely.
proper seamer to be your third seamer. Hardik Pandya can always come in and step in if the third seamer is having a bad day or if your spinner is having a bad day. That's how an ideal T20 team should be formed. I hope India tries this combination. Now you have just 14. I think India have got 10 days to submit their T20 team. I think we've got 9 days to submit our T20 team for the World Cup. And South Africa have already announced. Australia have announced their team. England have announced their team. So India also need to narrow in on the players and we go out there and
And I
announce
think it
their
is going
team.
to be very difficult given that they did not make it at least till the finals. If they don't manage to make it till the finals of the Asia Cup, I think it is going to be very difficult for the team management right now to fixate on 15 players to make it to the World Cup.
Absolutely. What do you guys think about Shadab Khan? I think Shadab Khan is a superstar for Pakistan team. His spin variations, his batting
I think
ability is
Aisha is really pissed at me for not supporting Pakistan tomorrow. I mean,
Yeah, I
Aisha, just
think
to clarify, I think I have been a staunch supporter of Shadab Khan throughout. I think it was before the game against India that I said that you have to look. No, I think before the game against Hong Kong that I said that you have to look out for Shadab Khan.
absolutely. I think Shadab Khan has been one of the most likable cricketers as well in the recent past. In PSL especially, I love the way in which he took on he was part of Islamabad United, if I'm not wrong, right? He was part of Islamabad United and he was terrific there. I watched PSL quite closely. So he was wonderful there, both with the bat and also with the ball. And if I have to tell you, in this Asia Cup as well, his spell against Hong Kong really uplifted the team Pakistan to really go ahead. And his spell against India, for example, he took KL Rahul's wicket when it was needed where it was needed to be taken, and also came and picked Rishabh Pant's wicket. It was brilliant bowling from
and
Shadab Khan.
he shut someone like a Virat Kohli down completely.
True, true. So he's a world class spinner at this very point. He's very young. He's still 22, 23 years old. He's got a long career ahead of him, and he's developing himself to be a very good all rounder as well in all three formats of the game. So a lovely bloke, a lovely cricketer, and just he needs to develop his football skills a little bit to understand who are the players whom he should be comparing with. That's my only thing which he should.
I mean, maybe he'll get admission to Ajax Academy.
Yeah.
But that said, he's a great cricketer.
He's a great cricketer. Only thing is that you should stop comparing players to footballers. And since then, Babar Azam has had a slump, so it's definite pressure on him to replicate Messi and
I
Ronaldo.
think he shouldn't have compared with someone like Cristiano Ronaldo, who himself is suffering. That's probably where the curse started, you know.
I definitely think tomorrow as well, Babar Azam is going to find it very difficult to get going. I think Babar Azam is a player who will not get going tomorrow. if I was in the definitely from the fantasy side as well, I would rather place my bets on Mohammad Rizwan than on Babar Azam, because I think he's been having a hard time. It will be soon that he'll get one of those match winning knocks coming in, but I have a strong feeling it is not going to be tomorrow.
Hmm. Interesting, interesting. I totally give it to you for that. And let's see how things go.
Because I
I mean,
definitely feel that he's going to struggle early on against Fazal Faruqi, and if Afghanistan are smart enough to bring in Mujibur Rahman early on, I think it is going to be very difficult for Babar Azam to get going. I think Mohammad Rizwan, with the form that he is in, he'll somehow find a way to sort of stay in the crease and accelerate after the fifth or sixth over once he gets settled. But
hmm.
with Babar Azam, I think he's going to find it very difficult to get going tomorrow.
Absolutely.
I may be
Now,
proven
Rashid,
wrong. I mean,
thank you for
Babar Azam
that.
can come
Thank you
in.
so much for that, Rashid. To be very honest, after that game, we had personal conversations like how are we going to come and pull this live off. Personally speaking, I couldn't even take a breath. I couldn't breathe properly because I was super
And
tense.
then Abel decided, let's just say that India are out of the tournament. That way we'll have no hope and we can go
Come
about
on,
it.
Sandipani. I mean, there's the probabilities are very low.
Yeah,
You
but
have
I
to
mean,
but
just
there
accept
is
it.
some probability, right?
I mean,
Like
he's a
I mean, I don't
statistician.
want to live up my
Listen, listen,
dreams now.
Jaren, he's a statistics student, right? He's a statistician and he's an analytics
Yeah,
buff, as he really like to call himself. And his maths probabilities and statistics probabilities always work behind his mind. He always is like behind permutations and combinations. NR and ऐसा होना चाहिए. 1.2, 1.3, Indian
human
90 रन
calculator,
बनाएगा.
I suppose.
और
Yeah.
बाबर आजम का stat क्या होगा मतलब.
no,
And he's already there. He was
statistically
already.
speaking, there is a 1/8. That is a
And it's a
12.5%
scary
chance
stat in
that
Dubai.
India are going to make it.
I totally agree with Sandeepani on this because it's scary. Stats do speak volume, right?
Yeah.
28 games played in Dubai, out of which 25 of them have been won by teams chasing. So the 90, almost 90 percentage isn't it 90 percentage
Yeah, yeah,
close to
yeah. It's
winning,
close to 90.
close to 90% is what a team chasing as a chief. So that's a scary stat. And so teams win the toss back. So tomorrow's game is in Sharjah for Afghanistan. So a different wicket altogether. Pakistan last time around got an opposition for 38 over there. Happy hunting ground for Pakistan. Historically, it's been a happy hunting ground for Pakistan. Pakistan, if you look historically since 1980s, they've always loved playing in Sharjah. So it's like going back to their home crowd rather. And let me tell you, there's something about this tournaments and legacy always plays matter. For Sri Lanka, they've been historically a very good team in Asia Cup. So when it comes to a tournament like Asia Cup, they have the belief, the way we've done it in the past, we can do it yet again in this particular tournament. For India, I don't know where that belief has gone. India are the 7-time champions.
Yeah, I
Somewhere the
think
belief
India
is
is
just,
following a recent trend of
yeah.
legacy.
जेरन ब्रो टॉक इन हिंदी, हाँ हम हिंदी में बात करते हैं. लेट्स एंड द शो इन हिंदी. मेरे को लगता है कि अभी इंडियन टीम को वापस आना चाहिए, मुंबई वापस आना चाहिए और यहाँ थोड़ा सीरीज खेलना चाहिए. मास्टर कार्ड का सीरीज भी खेलना चाहिए. मास्टर कार्ड सीरीज खेलने के बाद थोड़ा पैसा कमाएंगे, उसके बाद हम ऑस्ट्रेलिया चले जाएंगे. हम देखेंगे पाकिस्तान को कब 23 अक्टूबर को मैच है इंडिया पाकिस्तान. उस वक्त देखें. मैं सोचा था इस संडे में आराम से बैठ के मैच देखूंगा, बट अनफॉर्चुनेट. ठीक है, इंडिया आर आउट. एमिल सिल्वा एब्सोल्युटली बाय बाय इंडिया. इंडिया तो बाय बाय ही है अभी, फिलहाल तो बाय बाय ही है, पर
मेरे
देखेंगे.
लिए 11 तारीख को स्ट्रीम करना बहुत डिफिकल्ट होगा एशिया कप फाइनल में, शायद इसलिए आज इंडिया
ठीक है,
हारा,
मतलब
क्योंकि
पाकिस्तान जीतेगा, श्रीलंका जीतेगा, क्रिकेट
हाँ,
इज
मतलब
अल्टीमेटली.
ऐसा भी होने वाला था ना कि शायद हम लोग संदीपानी को मिस करते, तो आई थिंक संदीपानी बहुत खुश होगा क्योंकि अब
देख इंडिया
इंडिया
फाइनल
नो
पाकिस्तान
में
नो
को
नो,
मिस नहीं करेगा
यार.
ऐसे
गेम में।
ऐसे नहीं बोलता है, ऐसे नहीं बोलते हैं, क्योंकि मैं
कल संजू
कभी
ने
इंडिया
क्लियर
जब
बोला.
हारेगा तब
बट
मैं
अभी
खुश नहीं
भी
होऊंगा.
आई मीन
Let me
अभी
tell
भी
you guys,
संदीपानी चाहता है कि वो इंडिया
I
पाकिस्तान मिस कर
I
दे
have to
संडे
make it
को।
public. I have to make it public. Sandeepani was very clear that he won't be able to come for Asia Cup final because he's traveling. So Indian team ने सुन लिया वो. Indian team ने
हाँ,
संदीपानी
आई थिंक
स्पिन नहीं
इंडियन
करा तो हम मैच ही
इंडियन
नहीं
टीम नहीं
जीतेगा.
चाहता है कि वो संदीपानी के बिना
नो,
क्या
सो
कहते हैं
इट
मैच
वोंट बी
खेले
इंडिया
और
इंडिया पाकिस्तान एनीवे. मैं इंडिया पाकिस्तान मिस नहीं करना चाहता था, तो इंडिया पाकिस्तान नहीं होगा, इंडिया श्रीलंका होगा.
हाँ,
देयर
इंडिया
इज अ
श्रीलंका.
ओह! नो
12.5% चांस है कि इंडिया श्रीलंका का वो होगा फाइनल्स में.
भाई मैंने बोला था इंडिया पाकिस्तान फाइनल नहीं होने वाला. मेरे को कोई अवार्ड दो यार. मेरा प्रेडिक्शन बहुत सही निकला. मैंने बोला एक अंडरडॉग तो फाइनल खेलेगा. कोई श्रीलंका होगा या तो अफगानिस्तान होगा. अभी देख लो. एक अंडरडॉग जरूर फाइनल खेलने वाला है. पता नहीं कौन जीतेगा, पर मेरे को ये बात तो जरूर है कि इंडिया तो फाइनल में नहीं पहुंचने वाला और मेरा बाल चले जाएगा यार. मतलब क्या ही
आई मीन
बोलूं.
I mean,
संदीपानी
just for
आई टेल यू
that,
वन
I
थिंग
want
मेरी तरफ से एक
Pakistan to
स्टैट
lose
जब
tomorrow.
भी
I mean,
एबल ने
I
ये
just
बेट
want to see Abel clean shaved.
एबल मेरे सामने ये बेट 3 बार लगा चुका है इससे पहले और तीनों बार एबल जीता है। तो एबल का स्टैट बहुत अच्छा है। जब भी वो बोलता है कि वो गंजा होगा, ऐसा कभी हुआ नहीं है कि वो गंजा हुआ है, इसलिए उसके बाल इतने बड़े हैं।
देख लो भाई
तो
साहब.
एबल 3 बार लगा
There
चुका
is
है ये
always a
बेट।
start.
अभी सलोने आके कमेंट करेगा, उससे पहले मैं खिलाएगा. Okay, guys, we're ending the live right on that funny note. I know we started off with a lot of rage, but we're ending on a funny note. Thank you all for the love which you have shown, which is wonderful. I know it's after a tough day, we pulled off this live with your support and with your love which you have shown, because ultimately, what matters is your love, your support. Aisha, thank you for being with us. You've been watching us for the last 2 hours. Wonderful, wonderful. You've been one of our constant watchers. If you could give some, loyalty bonus, we'd love to give you. But yeah, it's wonderful to see you all people. Indian team can play three teams at a time. Absolutely, Indian team can play three teams at a
No,
time.
I think that
That's
has
the
been
major
said
issue
with
right
more
now.
of a taunt. Yeah, like India team can go and play three teams at a time, and
हाँ
then they'll
ठीक है.
get the top 15.
To be very honest, I believe the जो टीम जिम्बाब्वे गए थे वो शायद एशिया कप जीत भी सकता था. But yeah, that's how it is. Ultimately, when we look in hindsight, we'll be like, A team could have
Yeah,
done, B
I
team
think
could have
it's
done.
easy to criticize as well sitting here, right? You're not making those decisions in those tough moments, and
And
you're
I
not
think talking about
wondering.
the favorites, I think a big example that came around is in the chess circuit. Recently, in the chess Olympiad that happened, India went ahead with three teams because they were the host nation. So they had one team which were the favorites, one team which consisted of just the juniors, that was the Indian B team, and then there was the Indian C team, which was yeah, just for the sake of it, which was the third best. They were seeded some 17, 18. It so happened that Indian B team
Junior
with
team.
youngsters
They
managed to
finished third.
clinch the bronze medal. Yeah, and India
Yeah.
A team they ended up on the fourth place. So
I mean,
yeah, it might have
expectations
happened that
matter, right?
yeah.
Expectations is the bigger thing. If you
Yeah.
remember in 2018 Asia Cup, we went on in the Asia Cup because we had zero expectation. Virat Kohli
Yeah,
nahi
one
tha,
thing is expectations, and I
Bumrah bhi
think the
nahi tha.
second thing is when you don't play some of your youngsters against some of the tough oppositions. I mean, why is Nasim Shah now noted like regarded as such a good bowler? Because he came in, he performed against India. If he was just given the game against Netherlands and taken out and again brought into play against Zimbabwe or Hong Kong or Bangladesh, how would we have understood that what they would have done when they are playing against the tougher teams? Like India with Shubman Gill, with Shikhar Dhawan, they are playing against Zimbabwe, West Indies. How would we know that they won't perform? They won't, especially Shubman Gill, the youngsters, that is Shubman Gill, Deepak Chahar. They won't come good when they are playing against Pakistan. You have to try it to find out. Having said that, I mean, when you have the best 11, you should definitely go with the best 11. Uh,
Hmm.
but then again, always there is a chance that anytime the second team can come off better than better than your favorites, because once the burden of expectation is very high on the team that you consider favorites. India heading into the Asia Cup had a certain amount of burden. I mean, Sri Lanka tonight played carefree cricket. They could play carefree cricket because they knew that even if they lose tonight, nobody is expecting them to win against India. Like, most of them are not expecting Sri Lanka to win against India, and Sri Lanka have already won against Afghanistan. So that does not make this a do or die game for them. But on the other hand, India knew that this was a do or die game for them, and the burden of burden of expectations of the entire country was on them to perform and get to the Asia Cup title. Like, we have been so disappointed with the fact that they lost to Sri Lanka and they are knocked out of another multinational tournament. And I think it's definitely a lot has got to do with the burden. And I think talking about the recent years, I think India have been chokers, as rightly. Like, we can definitely call them chokers right now, because we have come into semifinals and finals in a lot of ICC tournaments, and even sometimes in group stages we get knocked out because we can't handle that pressure. We don't perform well in situations where we need to perform. We can come in, beat Pakistan, Sri Lanka in a bilateral series. I think we can have a whitewash against Pakistan in the bilateral series with the same team. But when it
Yeah.
comes to the pressure of performing in the Asia Cup, where we are considered one of the favorites, I think that also plays a
Absolutely,
huge
I
factor.
totally agree with you on this, because ultimately what matters is a multinational tournament. That's what people are going to remember for the longest period of time as well. And I really thought this is the moment for India to really, really put that monkey off the back and take that off. And I still believe there is enough time. We have two major multinational tournaments coming up. One is the T20 World Cup, and next year the 50 over World Cup, which India will be the host nation at least, not UAE.
Again, the
And
burden of
Australia,
expectations. I mean,
yeah,
I, I,
and
I I would
Australia
agree with you on that, on the fact that I think we will see some of the senior players step down after, if they don't succeed in you said if they don't succeed in the T20 World Cup, some of the senior players might step down. But
I'm
I
talking only
definitely
from
feel that
T20
they are going
format.
to,
Only
yeah,
from
T20
I
T20
format.
definitely feel that they are going to hold up till the till the 50 over World Cup at least, and they might
उसके बाद
even
बोलेगा 1
consider.
साल में फिर से एक वर्ल्ड कप आ रहा है, 2024 बोलेगा वेस्ट इंडीज़ में खेल के जाता
नहीं,
है,
नहीं,
उसके बाद
मेरे को नहीं
बोलेगा
लगता टी20
2024
वर्ल्ड
में
कप
चैंपियंस
टी20 में कोई
ट्रॉफी आ रहा है,
रिटायर करेगा। मेरे को
उसके बाद फिर
डेफिनेटली
से
नहीं
बोलेगा
लगता कि
टी20 वर्ल्ड
विराट
कप आ रहा
कोहली
है।
या रोहित शर्मा टी20 में वो टी20s में रिटायर करेगा, क्योंकि उन लोगों का स्टैट्स बहुत अच्छा है। वो लोग अभी भी परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं। रोहित शर्मा ने आज a lot of players struggled. Rohit Sharma scored 72 or 41.
I totally
Okay.
agree with you, Sandipani, on this, but the major issue has been the workload, and a lot of things do
Yeah, I
come
mean,
into play,
definitely.
right?
I'm not sort of arguing with the fact that they'll take long breaks after the T20 World Cup. They will definitely take breaks from T20 cricket after this T20 World Cup, but they'll definitely come to play the big tournaments. And I think that is
Okay.
where the selectors have to step in and ensure that you have sort of some sort of parity. Just because he is KL Rahul, he should not come in and get to play against Pakistan. He has to
True,
come in, play against Zimbabwe, play against 1 or 2 games against West Indies, probably some games in the domestic circuit as well, and then come
true,
into play against Pakistan. I
true.
think that game time is very important.
True, true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we'll be coming to the end of this today's stream. We've done it for almost close to 2 hours, and a lot to analyze and I never expected we'll be going for such a long period of time. I thought it'd be a 1 hour stream where we just talking about India. We spoke about larger questions and we spoke about larger things which we had to talk about. Good that we were able to address it. I've been on the stream for 4 hours continuously, so I think I'll be doing another stream now, another 1 hour with Champions League night. So it's a long night for me. I'll see you all guys in 1 hour. Take care. Have a good night. Maybe good morning to many people out there in Australia who are watching us. Take care. See you all tomorrow with Pakistan taking on Afghanistan. We
And
really hope.
hopefully an Afghanistan win that sort of opens the tournament.
Yeah. Everybody ends on that note. Good night, guys.
Yeah. Good night, guys.
Yeah, guys.